Georgia beats Marshall 45-7. I'm Dayne Young from UGAsports.com, still hanging out here where we did the UGA Sports Watch Along show. We'll have some other folks from UGA Sports join the show to our little post-game overreaction as we get going along as well. Some from the stadium, some once they get relocated from where they've been from here. And we welcome you to come join as well. That's really the best part about this show, is to hear from Georgia fans as all of this happens. All right. Let me bring up the final stat sheet, and we will recap where Georgia finished in this game. Once someone joins, I think I'm going to have to update a setting for my audio here, potentially. We'll see, because I just don't want any reverb of a situation here. Georgia wins this game over Marshall 45-7. Not quite a cover, but it is a very strong win. Marshall scored a late touchdown. Georgia kind of parked the bus there for a moment. Really good balance of Georgia's offense with 249 yards passing, 239 yards rushing. And yeah, if you're over in the chat, like Amari Carmichael up in Nashville, tell me where you're from. I want to shout out your place. Got to go Dogs from Knoxville from Luke Barton. That matchup looming pretty large here in a couple of weeks as Tennessee looked pretty good in its opening game. We'll see how that, if it's replicated. We have a small sample size at the moment. But look, if you're a Georgia fan right now, Georgia won its opening game very easily, and there's a lot to be happy about. Sure, we're going to overreact to the things that maybe you're not as happy about. I'm guessing passing game is one of those things in that category. But we're going to really analyze that Georgia won easily in its opening game. Alabama just lost its opening game. Texas lost its opening game. Where does this leave the SEC and its hierarchy as we move on through the season? We really don't know yet, because we just need more of increased sample size to see which teams are good, which teams aren't as good. I think LSU, Clemson tonight, I think both of those are two good teams. And I think potential teams Georgia could see in a college football playoff situation. From what I could tell, and again, I didn't dive into it deep because we were doing our watch-along show, Alabama has severe problems to work with. And I didn't really understand the hype around them in the offseason, but I thought they had more talent than what they did in that scenario. Jordan's watching from Naples, Florida. Chris over in LaGrange. I'm going to be driving through LaGrange here in just a couple of hours as I head over to some family in Alabama for the Labor Day weekend. Susie's down in Swainsboro. I'm sure you're excited to see DeMello Jones get some action for Georgia. A lot of defensive backs played, and I think you'll see DeMello play throughout the season for Georgia. You know, I think that's an area of strength for UGA this season, is the depth at cornerback. We didn't see Daylen Everett today as he's recovering from an injury, but he's one of the best in the country, potential first-round pick in the NFL, definitely a first- or second-round pick in the NFL. If Ellis Robinson keeps coming along, Daniel Harris, and then DeMello Jones, that's just more depth than I am used to seeing Georgia have at corner in recent years, and more than I think most teams in the country have. Levi's over in Augusta. Gillsville over here. Larry says, great day to be a Georgia Bulldog. I think a lot of people agree with that. Look, at least the threat of the QB run that a lot of people have been calling for in recent years, we saw it today as Georgia's leading rusher was Gunnar Stockton. 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 2 touchdowns throwing as well, 190 passing yards. That's the part, because look, Ryan Puglisi had 1 or 2 throws that made me think, I'm not going to say there's a quarterback controversy, which, look, I'm a person in the media. All I need to say that's on the dog vent, and there goes a spark up in the air. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is you see the ball off of his arm, you can kind of understand it a little bit and see the difference in what he brings versus Gunnar Stockton. I was just so impressed with Gunnar Stockton's ability to manage and be in control. I mean, he hasn't played a whole lot of starting football at Georgia, but it seemed like people knew what they were doing, where they needed to be. And I didn't really have a value for that until I've sat beside Coach Donnan for these watch-along shows after so many years here. So we have Milton, Florida, hanging out here, Running Springs, California, Dahlonega, Georgia, Fort Worth, Georgia. All right. I am going to bring on our first fan that wants to react to this. A longtime fan of the Postgame Overreaction show. Heath Fox is going to join us over here, and I think I'll leave the stat sheet up this way. Heath, what's up, man?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Man, life's good. I hope that there's not going to be reverb. So if you hear something crazy, because I don't have my audio settings right, I think I need to fix something while I'm working on this. But if it's, let me know if this is going nuts. All right.
Oh, you're good, man. That sounds good. So,
Cool. Overall reaction to what you saw from Georgia today.
I thought defensively we played very well. I think defense looks great. I love the way CJ Allen. I love the way Gabe looked today. I love the way the corners looked. Overall, defensively, I don't think we have a problem there. I would have liked to see offensively Nate Frazier. I would like to see him do a little bit more today than what we've seen. Great player, always. I always believe in him, as we've seen in Clemson last year. We've seen him tear up Clemson's defense. Zachariah Branch, love the guy. Transfer from USC. Gunner, I think Gunner. Here's my overreaction. I think Gunner and Puglisi. I think they have. I think my overreaction is that it's going to be a battle between both of them. I like it.
Oh, you're going a step further than I was willing to.
I'm going a step further than you. I think Gunner is great, and I think he will be the starting quarterback. This is just an overall, overreaction, right? Overreaction. Uh, but I like the way Puglisi threw the ball. He's not as mobile as Gunner looked, but he has an arm on him, dude.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that the ball looked a little bit different coming out of his hands. I'm curious how much Georgia's offense will evolve with Gunnar Stockton. The running threat was incredible. And you could see how when you need tough yards in the SEC, how that's going to be helpful, but at the same time, how it's going to be dangerous. And can that last for what Georgia hopes to be 15 more games?
Absolutely, and I don't think we really opened up the playbook. This is Marshall, right? This is kind of just to see. This is first game, see where everybody's at. As I always say, it's a gimme game, but at the same time, it's not. We see upsets all the time. But I think we didn't open up the playbook. Bobo, there were some questionable things for me, but overall, I think we did great. I mean, I think this team is not only a playoff contender, but maybe a national championship contender team. So I really like the way we look, though. So
I don't know if it's an overreaction, but any thoughts on Zachariah Branch and some of his run after the catch potential?
oh my goodness, it's sky's the limit, right? I mean, you've seen he had the longest. I think it said the longest receiving touchdown in his career so far. Even at USC, he didn't have that long of a reception touchdown, a receiving touchdown. The way that his takeoff speed kind of reminds me of Arian Smith from last year. He's got the speed on him. I think he's going to be great throughout the middle. You've seen him run a couple slants, catch and run for a run after catch. You've seen just the takeoff speed, and I was very impressed with Zachariah Branch. I mean, like I said, I love the guy. I've been looking forward to him since I heard that he was transferring to Georgia, and I have high hopes for the guy. So
The return game potential is what excited me the most, and we got to see a glimpse of it today. But I feel like all the Georgia teams that we've watched in recent years, you get used to Kearis Jackson, and maybe he can break something, but really, it almost feels like the job is fair catch, get the ball, be safe, don't try to make anything of it. And that is going to change with Zachariah Branch. He just has a different kind of potential than I can remember from some other Georgia returners.
I absolutely agree, especially on that punt that bounced and he grabbed it and just kind of slipped out to the left there and took off for, I don't know, 20, 25 yards. I thought for a second, oh my gosh, here he goes. But I absolutely agree with you. I think the return game is going to be completely different than what we've had in the past years. His return game, as we knew going into this, is great and it's elite. And I think he's an elite player. He's all over the field. I love it. I love the way Gunner looked today, throwing it to him. I just like the way we looked this year. I mean, like I said, this is week one. You kind of see where everybody's at, and the real test comes in really 2 weeks when you play Tennessee at Tennessee. We will really be challenged. I mean, I think we'll be challenged. I don't think we have to worry too much with the way we look today. But like I said, I mean, playing at Tennessee is always tough, and I do believe that we have a contending team this year.
Have a hello from Stuttgart, Germany. Says
Oh my
Branch
God.
is Georgia's first really elite receiver that Georgia's had in a while. Thanks for watching. Hey, Heath, you can hang on if you'd like. I'm going to bring on John as well, who's in the chat. If you need to go, do your thing too. But I'm going to bring him on so we can get a little extra fan action here. John, what's up?
What's going on? How are you?
Hey, doing well. Thanks for joining in. What's your reactions to the day?
Well, I think if of the two preseason games, this would have been the toughest of the two, and I'm glad to see how they came out, how they played. I think if we're gonna be overly critical. Dylan Bell didn't have his best day, but I don't know if he was schemed up right either. And then
The first play that he had, I liked how it was schemed. It wasn't successful, but I like getting him in the backfield, doing sweeps, doing jets. I just honestly, I think his best potential for Georgia would be as a running back, and he doesn't seem to have interest in doing that. And maybe at this point, the depth at running back and such, you wouldn't need him as much there anymore.
right.
You're going to continue to see some actions like that. Otherwise, I think I agree with you.
And then offensive line. I mean, if we got to be able to move people back, and I know we had a couple guys go out, but it's just that's really being very critical. But again, next week I think is you're probably going to you're facing somebody else, but you'd probably get better work having an inner squad. You know what I mean? Like
No
as far as
respect for the
talent-
governors.
Well, as far as talent, but offensive line, I just did not. Again, if I'm being critical, overly critical or overreacting, that would be the only. It didn't look like same old, but it did not look like it was. Oh my gosh, you look out there, receiver, you're like, oh my gosh, we definitely have improved. Quarterback, I mean, I not to hate on Carson Beck, definitely improved. I was thinking about it while I was waiting, and you're the expert. I think it's literally been 20 years since we've had a quarterback that was a threat to run, since DJ Shockley. Now, Stetson would run, but I don't know that he was a threat. You had to respect a little bit, or you had to have it in your head, but he wasn't necessarily a threat. Gunner's the threat.
Yeah, this is I kind of thought about early Stetson Bennett a little bit when he wasn't as comfortable in the pocket and he would bail faster. That there were senses, and frankly, his passing wasn't as efficient, and Gunnar Stockton's passing isn't as efficient now. If that's a trajectory, I think Georgia fans will be super happy with Gunnar Stockton as he grows and matures with these receivers and the skill guys. Overall, I think I agree, other than I need to see him do this against an SEC caliber defense before I sit there and say this is like DJ Shockley style ability. Otherwise, I think it may end up being more like I really don't have a comp, right? Because Georgia hasn't had like the physical runner that you could do. Stetson wasn't running in between the tackles, and I think Gunnar will be doing some of that on keepers.
And I can agree. I can agree on the offensive line. I do believe I felt like Gunnar was pressured. I don't think that he, got worried or anything like that because he was composed the entire game that he was in. But he was getting pressured a couple of times with the offensive line.
Yeah, I think you're the one I have the most confidence in of the returners is Drew Bobo. I mean, and I thought Gaston, he looks the part. I hope he's okay. You'd like to see him get a little bit of work next week before going to Knoxville. If
He's just so big. God, he's big.
And maybe Monroe Freeling, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. And again, it's Marshall. We're going to see in Knoxville. We're going to see against Alabama. I don't know. It's very.
So I think your general sentiment, and it may be painted by some of the things that we've seen around the country. Not Alabama necessarily, though it is still Alabama. So I don't. If Alabama lost 3 games before they play Georgia, which they won't. They're playing UL Monroe and Wisconsin. They're not going to lose those games.
Yeah.
Maybe Wisconsin's closer than people think, but just the fact that it's those 2 teams on the field, Georgia fans will have anxiety about that game based on Kirby Smart's record against them. But I think a bit of what you're feeling is Georgia did all it could do to make you feel pretty good as a Georgia fan.
Oh yeah.
The problem, Tennessee did some things that make you feel a little nervous as a Georgia fan. Yeah. And maybe last night Auburn did some things that make you feel a little nervous as a Georgia fan, knowing that Georgia has to go to both of those places. Or maybe even Georgia Tech with that quarterback again. and it's not at Bobby Dodd, but it's at the Benz. I think the combination of all those things may be something that has Georgia fans being like, yeah, it's gonna be hard. Georgia can do it, but it's gonna be hard.
And we've seen it last year, even with Georgia Tech, Haynes King being a mobile quarterback running. I mean, he tore us up last year, and that's really why they took us to 8 overtimes. Was the quarterback Haynes King? He was a mobile quarterback, and that's what worries me as a Georgia fan is mobile quarterbacks. You see them slip through, and you see them take off 4, 5, 6 yards every time they slip out, and it's like, man, what is it that we can do to prevent mobile quarterbacks? But there again, all around corners, we just play well with that. But
You know how you prevent mobile quarterbacks?
how's
You
that?
get one and you keep the other guy on the sideline.
Was today our clear indication that Rod Robinson's done at Georgia? I know it's only game one, but they ran obviously Nate Frazier, Phillips, Chauncey
Bowens.
and Bo Walker. I don't know that Rod got a carry.
Yeah, I'll double check on the stats here. No,
If he
yeah,
did, it
he
wasn't
didn't get a
Jones.
carry. Cass Jones had the one early in the game.
Cass
Mostly,
Jones.
he's in past situations.
So,
Yeah, I could see why you would say that. I think it's too early to say. A lot of times at the end of fall camp, things just happen. I mean, Bo Walker was probably higher in the hierarchy up until McCray is who I'm thinking about. Josh McCray. You could say the
yes,
same
that's
about
right.
him, but
That's
he
right.
wasn't as high in the hierarchy because of like an illness that he had in fall camp. So things happen, and maybe he's dinged up, or maybe he's just not up to par with these other guys, and that happens even with talented players. I still think Brandon Robinson is a really good football player and could have been really good at Georgia, but when you see what Nate Frazier was doing last year, Branson's probably like, yeah, I probably lost my spot. And he ends up at Georgia State. You look at the running back room, and you can almost just pin in that 2 of those guys will be out next year, and then maybe someone new comes in, a freshman, and then maybe a transfer or something. That's just going to be constant. Everyone's going to be seeking playing time. And at Georgia, I think running backs will get a lot of it this year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It should. Yeah, I'd like
But
to see
Nate Frazier, was he overly impressive today? Do we care?
No. Not when you have that. Not when you. Not again. It's been we've been looking for that number one for a long time. We've been looking for long receivers, and you look out there and you see him in red and black. You're like, man. And I know he's not, but the other guy, I'm like, man, that's what we've been looking for. So it's hard to. Yes, you're okay with what happened today running the ball.
Yeah.
Speed
Absolutely.
kills. Speed kills.
And I think it's hard to have a lot of offensive complaints if you're a Georgia fan.
Yeah.
Seeing what Texas dealt with today, which
Mhm.
seemed like both a coaching issue and a player issue of the coaches seem to have very little confidence that offense could execute what it needed to.
Yeah, only Arch Manning only had 38 yards passing going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't be upset with how Gunner played today at all. Obviously, it's a different matchup, 1 versus 3, but I mean, you can't be upset. You can't.
I mean, I think we would all think that Gunner Stockton would have a better performance, even in that scenario at Ohio State, than
Right. Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Texas offense had.
Yeah.
I know you got a lot of people want to talk to you. I want to close this It's an upcoming opponent. So who anointed Steve Sarkisian this offensive prophet? Because in every big game, he makes decisions. I don't know that. I'll be honest with you. Like, I would probably line up obviously Lane Kiffin of the guys in the game. Lane Kiffin, Cliff Kingsbury, guys that I think offensively as far as tacticians are
You didn't say
10
Bobo.
times better. No, I didn't. But what I'm getting at is, I just hear, and I know it's Fox, and then he's an offensive mastermind. In every big game, he's not. He makes horrible decisions, play calling decision. 4th and 4 on your own 30-yard line, and you go for it. It's just his play calling on the goal line was just brutal. I just don't think he's this mastermind I know he's from the Pete Carroll tree, but I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think that's your answer is reputation. Starting at USC, some success in other places, even in the NFL, and then getting back with Nick Saban, that revitalized his career completely and
I would
made it
venture
where
to
he was
say that.
hireable.
Heupel's had better performances in big games than he has as an offensive mastermind.
Not against Georgia.
Not
I feel
against
like Georgia
Georgia.
has Heupel figured out.
Well, not against Georgia, but he has. I think he's in big games. He's not as. I don't know. It reminds me, and I loved Coach Rick. And Coach Rick, the knock on him a lot of times was he couldn't win a big game, and he did eventually. But like he was an offensive mastermind of the time. Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of like Sarkisian. Like he's supposed this mastermind, but he gets in these big games and he cannot. I mean, he just cannot get out of his own way.
Well, and when I was reading the excerpt from the book from Seth Wickersham about quarterbacks, he goes back to the Arch Manning recruitment. One of the reasons that Arch Manning picked Texas in that recruitment was because Sarkisian was the offensive play caller, and he thought that there was a greater chance that Sarkisian would still be there as the person calling his plays by the time that he was ready to play. I spent all of last year saying, if Arch Manning is so good, why is he not playing over Quinn Ewers, who I thought was fine?
Right.
I mean, small sample size. I think Arch is going to be better than today. I think I understand. I think I get it.
Yeah.
But Arch looked better last year than he looked today. So
I agree. So last thing. So is Paul not going to make a guest appearance at all this season?
Yes, Paul will be involved. I don't know to what extent. I don't know if he's available today specifically, I don't know for the rest of my understanding is that he can potentially may pop in and make an appearance like the first or second week and maybe hosting later in the season. I don't know that information, and we all have young children and just haven't chatted about it.
I get it.
To be honest.
I get it. No, I get it. I just, there's nothing better than his back and forth with Triple G. That's what I wait 9 months for.
Oh, boy. That's what you wanted after the whole long off season.
No, even after a loss, that banter those two have it makes my Saturday night. So.
Well, I do know that Radi's in relocation mode at the moment, and he'll take over for me here and kind of keep the show rolling after a bit. I may hang out with him for a second, but I've seen Radi for the past 4 hours, too. That's a lot of Radi in a day.
Appreciate what y'all do, man. Looking forward to a good season.
Thanks, John.
I see.
Thanks for joining us. Man, how fun is that? Trinity Clark's been hanging out here. What's up, Trinity?
Yeah, man. How are y'all doing tonight?
Man, excellent. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. After this great win.
Feeling good about Georgia?
I feel great. And also I feel even better with our top two biggest competitors losing.
Oh.
Because I know it doesn't matter with the SEC because it was both, out of conference wins. But seeing how both of those teams have played, I really didn't watch much Alabama outside of the last couple minutes. But watching Texas, okay, let me say this. I like Arch Manning. I think he's a good dude, and I think he's going to be a really good football player. But the generational talent that the media and, everybody has propped him up to be, I was talking to my brother, and I was like, I feel like he's going to be like Trevor Lawrence, where, he has the capabilities to be that, but he got to be put in the right position.
Yeah.
And I know this is legit.
Texas feels like a right position for a really good quarterback. But
it does.
I will say, I do think that Texas's wide receiver talent is downgraded from last year. Matthew Golden was incredible. And the more that I've watched him, and especially after the NFL draft process, Matthew Golden and Ladd McConkey have a lot of similarities. Just in terms of getting open and route running. They're both a little undersized, but it doesn't matter because they're that quick and shifty. Yep. You don't just lose. Georgia didn't lose Ladd McConkey and just come back from that. You don't find those guys.
Or Brock Bowers.
Yes, similar deal. I was just, body composition is why I thought that way, but yeah, it's the same principle with a Bowers. Ryan Wingo at Texas is as good of a young receiver as you could ask for. He's not going to make up for what Matthew Golden did for Texas last year.
And with that, with wide receivers at Texas going down, that means Arch will be running the ball. And we were just talking about mobile quarterbacks. Arch is a mobile quarterback when he wants to be. And does that worry you at all with Georgia's defense?
Nah, because guess what Gunner just did? and Arch and Gunner they have different running styles, but they're both the same where they can get up and go when they want to. I feel like um Gunner, he fits the mentality that Kirby wants as far as like, just a dog, and he's aggressive and attacking. And I feel like that's what we didn't have when we played Notre Dame. It wasn't, very aggressive on the offensive end outside of the key drops. We know, what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like, and I was surprised by Ryan. I was surprised by Puglisi. Like, he could actually really move and look good. You know what I'm saying?
His movement
Um,
reminded me of Carson Beck a little bit of like
it
he can do
did.
it, but you may not want him to do it.
Oh yeah, no, 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 no. Mm-mm. To be honest with you, I really didn't even want Gunner to be running as much as he did because he was taking licks, and I'm like, brother, we need you.
Now with
Yeah.
the aggressiveness on offense, does that? I know we say Kirby has this mentality, but does Bobo have the mentality to be aggressive on offense as well? When you
Oh,
see,
totally.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I,
I
I
mean, I agree. I do agree. But when you see, third and mediums, third and longs, and you see bubble screens, it does make you kind of concerned when you see that. But it works out for us every
I
time.
look at this in a macro. You saw what Georgia's offense was last year when the primary piece of it was designed around what Carson Beck did. And then
mhm.
now you saw today, and we'll see where it evolves from this point, a lot of similar principles on offense, but you do allow your playmakers to kind of do it their way. To me, that's a really good job by an offensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
And like I covered enough Gus Malzahn Auburn teams. You give them a Nick Marshall, you give them, a Castellanos that he had today at Florida State.
Yeah,
Man, they could be really, really, really good. When you give
absolutely.
them a Sean White, yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
I guess what I'm saying for Bobo to be as flexible and malleable to work around those, because to me, Gunnar Stockton and Carson Beck are about as opposite as you could be within a Georgia system, even though if the system's the same. So
Mhm.
to me, that's a really good sign of an offensive coordinator that both of those guys can have a lot of success within those parameters.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I totally agree.
yeah. Now I was about to add is but also I feel like the team has more confidence in the wide receivers. Like, the wide receiver ability, as far as like last year, the past 2 years, we had teams where it was north and south. Whereas, like, we have great speed with Arian, we have, people that can make tough catches, but it's very like rudimentary, where, just up like north and south. But this team, we have everything pretty much. Old boy from USC, can't think of
Zachariah
his
Branch.
name. Branch,
Mhm.
like, he brings this electric presence that we were lacking, that also has experience. You get what I'm saying? Like, I did this team, I feel like they're more confident, and especially, Dane, like, y'all been reporting all off season how, they're not dropping passes. Like, I feel like this team is more comfortable than they were last year. And I don't want to put a blame game and call people out, like, y'all know more than me, but I don't, it's just a different kind of swagger, and y'all been reporting on this, for a while. And the product is showing, like, okay, there's like a different kind of juice.
Man, you can't play the blame game more than I did. Than 2 years ago, I got on it after Carson Beck's first start.
I know, I
Georgia ain't
know.
win a national championship with him.
I remember, but yeah.
Well,
Um,
even going back to Stetson Bennett, when he threw the ball, you had confidence in him, right? Every time he threw the ball, you knew it was going to touch a receiver's hand. And then Carson Beck comes in, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?" Like, every time he dropped back for a pass, at least I would be like, "Oh, well, who's this going to?" I didn't feel that today. I didn't feel like that. Every time Gunner dropped back, I felt like he was calm, cool, and collective with every play that happened for him. And to me, that's just what a quarterback. That's what a quarterback's
Hmm.
supposed to look like.
Yeah, the only thing is that, like, it's crazy if you're gonna compare. Gunner probably has the least amount of touch and accuracy out of all the past quarterbacks, but it is going to work better than with Carson Beck. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of oxymoronic how that makes sense, but it's like I feel like it's just gonna work, and however kind of magic or I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna work out better.
I think in college football, personality still matters a lot, and teammate and showing up that way. In the NFL, I don't know that it does as much. I mean, 30-year-old dudes have families, and so they're going to go to work and they're going to go home and do the thing. They're not going to be hanging out with teammates a whole lot, and that's fine. Super chat here from KC says, first game, and some fans are already complaining. It's post-game overreaction show. And we like this whole community compares, but this is just going to be what happens. If you really want to complain, I'll bring in Radi.
Who the hell's complaining?
Fans, Radi.
Nah, I was actually, I've seen a lot of the fan complaints. Apparently, Gunner can't throw past the 6-yard line, and the offensive line is terrible, even though they gave up no sacks. There's only 2 penalties on the day. Georgia ran the ball at will, racked up 500 yards of offense. Against the scheme, you had no idea what was coming. You had no idea what they were going to do. They dropped 8 numerous times. They brought exotic blitzes and tried to throw it off, throw Georgia off because you have no idea what to prepare for. I don't know. I left the game excited. Then I've watched the fan reaction. I'm like, well, hell, Georgia's terrible. I don't know. I'm just saying it's
Yo, guys, hot take. I don't know. I just thought about this. It popped into my mind. I feel like in this conference or in college football this year, whoever has the most solid offensive line will win.
Yeah, I mean, but that's true. I don't say every year, but that does matter. You need a good offensive line. You also got to remember, I mean, 2 drives, they look great. Then one Gaston goes down, and that's the guy that's been getting all the reps for the first team offense.
Mm-hmm. Was it a serious injury? Have y'all heard anything on Gaston?
Kirby says it's an ankle. He's not. They did an MRI. He's not sure if it's upper or lower. The only thing I heard, and I put this on the board, was that you can't say it looked good, but they were basically saying it's not as we don't think it's as bad as it could be. But a lot of times when it's bad, they let you know right away. They're like, "Oh, this is a high ankle sprain," and it wasn't obvious right off the bat, and that's why I put in my note on UGAsports.com that is the initial report is that it doesn't look as bad as it could be. So, but I'll go back to the Georgia Clemson game, in 2021, where Tate Ratledge got the start as a true freshman and got hurt in that first series. And did Georgia score a touchdown in that game offensively? No, they didn't.
Got that defensive one though.
Yeah, it got they took it the other way. Chris Smith. But my point is the offensive line, there were issues when sometimes they bring more guys than you have. There were times where they missed a few, but for the first game,
that's football.
Well, and
you could be talking about Texas's offensive line right now, and that's
why I brought it. That's why I brought it up. When I was watching Ohio State and Texas, I was like, their offensive lines, they lost their best players from the past 2 years, and that's why I said I feel like whichever team this year. Whoever has that best offensive line is going to win.
Well, and the deepest, because that's one of the things that affected Georgia. You lose your starting center for a month in the middle of the season. That affects cohesion everywhere on the team. Like that's been the guy. And look, now you're like, cool, that helped Drew Bobo. Like he's been ready for this because of some of the action last year.
He looked good, y'all.
Yeah, just for context with Gaston, if that's how Kirby described it on radio, Roddy, typically from when I've covered this, there's 3 potential options there. You want it to be a low ankle sprain because that's more of a week-to-week deal. Could be fine, play a little bit against Austin Peay, and then be ready for Tennessee. If it's high ankle, there's kind of like 2 paths on that. There's this could just be a month and it's going to nag you for a while, or this could be we got to look at tightrope, which is kind of the newer thing, and then that's like more to like 4 to 6.
Well, I didn't mean to cut off Heath earlier, but here's the thing with earlier in the week, we reported that Colby Young was in a brace. Okay, he played well. Yeah, he was out there. Then we mentioned that Daylen Everett and C.J. Allen were in boots. Okay, and I'm like, well, how bad is it? They're like, well, they're low ankle. Okay, one played today, one didn't. The 2 guys in boots. So I mean, CJ Allen looked completely fine, but there was one point he's wearing a boot earlier in the day. And then Dayne was the guy that everyone reported, and us included, reported that Janelle Aguero had gotten hurt. It wasn't him. It was Dayne Everett that got hurt. And had to be helped off the field. But apparently, you didn't need him today. Daniel Harris needed the work. Ellis Robinson needed the snaps. DeMello Jones was out there a lot. So,
Kelly.
Yeah, Dominic Kelly got out there 24. So the point being, if you don't need to make it worse. You need him for Tennessee. You saw what that quarterback at Tennessee looks like. So
I ain't watched that game.
Quarterback looks good. Point being, with Juan Gaston, it's like, not to say that he could have gone back in. I hate when Kirby says he could have gone back in. I'm like, yeah, he could have. He wouldn't have been effective because he couldn't stand. But the point being, you've got 2 weeks before you need Juan Gaston back. Hopefully he rests this week. You don't let him put any weight on it, or take it easy. You don't need him against Austin Peay, and then hopefully he's ready to go against Tennessee.
And I'll say one more thing, and I'll let somebody else grab my spot here. I'm a firm believer in defense wins ball games. If you can't win if you can't score, right? And I think our defense looked great today. I mean, CJ Allen looked great. Gabe looked great. I think KJ Bolden even had a punt blocked, right? So I mean, he was flying all. You just seen all four corners just flying across the field, and I'm very confident in our defense. Like I said, very confident in offense. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I think we are a playoff, if not national championship contender. But that's all I've got to say for today. But I can't wait to see what we look like week 3 and week 5. I guess it would be technically, but I can't wait. So.
Heath, thanks always for joining on here, man. You always bring some good points. You bring a little more sensibility than a lot of people on the post-game overreaction show. But maybe that'll evaporate in the middle of the season when the schedule.
It might evaporate. It might just be gone.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I don't want to say I look forward to seeing that, but now that I've called it out, I'm just going to look for it. How about that?
Just look for it. You might catch it. But I appreciate you guys. Always appreciate what y'all do. And as always, go Dogs.
Thanks for your support, Heath.
Michael, I do have respect for the governors.
You've never had respect for government, Radi.
He said governors. I can respect. I can respect the position, not the institution.
Fair. LSU is already in Clemson territory. It's 3rd and 11 now, and they're calling a timeout. But if it's a field position game, LSU started out all right with a couple long runs. I think one was a long run. And are you drinking again, Radi? Already,
dude. Just after. I got depressed reading Twitter. So in the time from Coach Donna's house to here, I turned on Twitter and, to be fair, I did ask the fans, and I like doing that. I said, what were your interpretations? I did at halftime. We had like 300 responses. I did again at the end of the game. Now that you've seen the entire game, what is your thought on on this Georgia team? And so I read, I read the responses, and now I'm depressed. So
now you have me curious, and I haven't even looked at the dog vent since we got done with the watch-along show. So we're going to do this little exercise live here, and I am going to pull up the dog vent, which people can join for $1 right now if you're not a member. The most legacy Georgia online community that there is. I have found people that help with all. I had someone at my house within 2 hours to see if my deck was okay one time because of the dog vent. It's fantastic. So I'm just curious. Dabo's a goober. Okay, that's we got a Juan Gaston update on there. Dylan Bell. Bama's done. Yeah. I'm not seeing there's some Puglisi threads on here. Without diving deep into the threads, I guess on the vent I'm not seeing as much on here that makes me so maybe Twitter is just a little hostile.
Well, here's the thing. The UJ Sports, like you said, is a little more curated. You actually have to pay to get behind the paywall, $1 for the first week. The best thing right now, if you're a member of UJ Sports, is to go read that Alabama board. Go read Bama Online.
Ooh. All right, hold on. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Call up Bama Online. Let's go. Let's see what's going on over there. Or, oh my God, the Texas board.
They're going crazy. They're I tuned into there's an Alabama guy, KB football something, and people are lighting him up.
Oh, dude, he's Coach called
Oh, yeah.
one of those moving van games.
Now we're cooking, fellas. I'm embarrassed. How does the AD get a pass?
Fan transfer portal. That's it right there. The transfer portal for the fans.
We don't want Dabo.
We couldn't run the ball versus a 3-3-5.
Does Miss Terry want to coach?
Oh,
Yo, question: are y'all really sold on Clemson?
I'm sold on the potential of Clemson because I know that they have top end talent that the NFL respects.
I feel like LSU and Clemson are like the same. Like,
And I think they'll both be in the playoff.
oh yeah, of course, because there's too many teams. It's like you have to. But it's kind of crazy that FSU, the way that they played Alabama, they may get in with the ACC.
Oh, we got a Glenn Schumann reference. They're going to hire Glenn Schumann.
no. Hey,
I hope not.
It worked
I hope
going the other
not.
way. I mean, think about it. Georgia hired Kirby Smart, the defensive coordinator, and it worked out. So I can see it.
This is fun. I'm
I
having a
hope
great
not.
time.
Now, here's the thing. You're just showing the threads there right off the bat. I do want to remind people that if you are a member, you can go read. You can actually open the threads. So even if you don't want to be a member all year long, you should sign up today. Go read the Texas board, read the Alabama board, and enjoy that. It's because we always we talk about the tiers. The tiers, other teams, other fan bases, and Georgia's had plenty of theirs. I mean, the dog vent after the Notre Dame loss was not pretty.
This is Texas. Quinn haters, where they at? Something about Gus Malzahn. Who can replace Sark?
Oh, they're talking Astros, man.
Georgia licking their chops.
Yeah.
Sark on fourth down. This is this funny? Oh no, it just is a replay of every single play that happened in the game. I don't think they want to watch
Arch play call Arch's arm angle. Oh my God, he's got a bad arm angle apparently.
He's gonna be fine though. Arch is gonna be fine. Texas is a great team.
Think about it. I'm not a firm believer in Arch. I don't get into all the hype. It's just I've seen too many good quarterbacks come and go with a lot of hype. I mean, we've had I remember all the hype coming on Jacob Eason. JT Daniels was supposed to be the savior. So again, Georgia had Justin Fields and lost him.
Jamie Newman too. Don't forget Jamie Newman.
Hey, he had a great couple days in practice.
But I'm just saying this is it is a tough row to hoe if you're Arch Manning and your first real major start is at the defending national champion's house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just tough,
It is, but I don't feel too bad for him because it's just like I don't know how people feel. I felt like I was talking to my brother, and I was like, Arch Manning is the same thing as Shiloh Sanders. Same thing as
Shedeur?
Yeah, they're both really good quarterbacks, but who their legacy is, they're gonna be fine regardless. Now it's gonna be dependent on how they handle the pressure, but they've been in the spotlight their entire lives. So I feel like it's just they just got to do it, but they're gonna get every opportunity, in my opinion. They're gonna be fine. It's not too much sympathy, in my opinion.
Well, go back to your question about the LSU and Clemson. I mean, are you sold on Clemson? They have a great defensive front. They have great wide receivers and a competent quarterback. That's winning football in 2025, 2026.
Good coordinators, good offensive line coach.
Yeah. I mean, what did Georgia have? They had good defensive line, good skill guys, competent quarterback.
Yeah, but Kirby's the best, though.
I think with rosters, you look for the differentiators, right? So when I saw Georgia had Brock Bowers, when I saw that Darnell Washington was a part of Georgia, I'm like, well, people just don't have those. So that's different. The thing that caught my attention with LSU this offseason was I think it was some crazy stat they were throwing around SEC media days that they had 4 receivers that run 4.5 and under, like something like crazy like that.
Wow.
And I'm like, if that's true, and they can catch and run a route, and that's a lot of assumptions to be made there. And they have Garrett Nussmeier, who I've seen be really good and make NFL throws. That's got potential to be something that teams don't have, including a Texas and including a Georgia, based on what we saw today. Like Georgia wouldn't have the combination of that. Georgia may have some other differentiators, but they wouldn't have that thing.
Yeah. Hey, before we bring on Eddie from Ackworth, and I'm excited to get his take on this. So the question was, am I drinking Hunker bourbon? And yes, I am, because they are still a sponsor of the Postgame Overreaction show. They have the Hunker vodka. They have the Hunker bourbon. ASW Distilleries joined us as sponsors of the show simply because they had 5 of the 6 founding members were Georgia graduates. They're an award-winning distillery. They're in the Battery. They have other locations as well. They win awards left and right. This is the Kirby Smart of distillers. They win. Okay. And then they decided to come up with the Hunker vodka, which was getting the proceeds of which were going to Georgia's NIL efforts. Then they came out with the Hunker bourbon. So just saying, it's fantastic stuff. Try it. You'll be very happy you did so. And some of the proceeds of it go to help the Georgia Bulldogs. I guarantee you, without Hunker and folks like that, you wouldn't have Zachariah Branch out there taking the ball 49 yards to the house.
Radi, since you have people jumping on and getting set to join, I'm going to back out, and I'm going to begin a drive to where my family is with my in-laws in the state of Alabama. So I'll probably be listening and seeing what the overreaction looks like. But I'm going to start making headway to get toward Atlanta.
Okay.
I'll be safe.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for watching and supporting this and the UGA Sports Watch Along and UGA Sports in general and all my terrible takes. Thanks for supporting all those things. Have a good night.
A lot of terrible stuff. All right, we'll see you later.
See it.
Let's add Eddie on here. We've got Jordan too. I'm add you both on there, but I'll start with Eddie.
Shoot. All right.
Yeah, Jordan, you just hold Jordan. You hold Jordan. You hold on.
Sir. Yes, sir.
How y'all doing, fellas?
Good. Doing all right.
Radi, good evening. Hope everybody's well. Radi, I disagree with you. I love the overreaction on Twitter. You know why? Because that means Georgia has set a bar that's way up here.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, bring it on. I mean, and I can understand a little bit of it. I mean, I wanted to see pretty much exactly what we saw today. I know we didn't cover the spread. We can go into that, whatever. The third stringers gave up a garbage TD. Okay, we didn't cover. Okay.
Rashawn Deakins, the guy I've been defending and talking about.
Me too. That's my guy. Yeah, he overplayed that ball. So whatever, but he was on the field, Radi, right?
Yeah.
That's the important thing. That's what we want to see. We didn't see any of that last year. We want to see that. So that was the best thing to me, but I just want to point out a couple things. First, on the offense.
Okay.
I don't understand what everybody's talking about with Gunner can't throw the ball. You mentioned this a little bit, Radi. He doesn't throw the ball well. He had 2 touchdowns. Let's recall that. One was a pass interference that held up the tight end. I think that was, I don't know who that was. I don't remember who that was.
Lawson Lucky.
Lawson Lucky, you're right. Lawson Lucky. Got a little held up. That's a touchdown. Then the second one, if the runner keeps running to the pylon, that's another touchdown. He made 2 great throws that were not touchdowns that should have been. Those are on the receivers and, well, the defense, I guess you could say. Not on Gunner. Gunner looked fine. And the best thing to me is to watch Gunner Stockton running almost a triple option a couple times. And that's what that was, a semi-triple option. We had none of that with Carson Beck last year. That right there is something that Alabama and Texas and Florida et al. Are now having to look at film and saying, whoa, we got to prepare for this now. And you know what that opens up? Play action pass all day long. You're nodding your head. I know you know what I'm talking about. That's the best thing to me about the offense. Secondly, on defense, I just want to I'll turn it over to the other guy here. I don't see his name on there.
Jordan.
AJ Bolden is a beast. I love the way that guy plays football. He doesn't have to play special teams. He's a starter. But he wants to be on special teams, and he's out there blocking punts and going crazy for that. Secondly, Chris Cole on the edge, that guy is an animal. I know he wasn't huge on the stat sheet, but I love the way Chris Cole plays football. Just
And
some
save some talking points for me. You're taking all of them.
and I'll turn it over to you.
No,
Hey,
it's all
Jordan, you
good.
know Eddie is greedy as hell, man.
I know when you said you're bringing both of us in, I'm like, well, I guess I'll just listen because he's going to be spot on.
Appreciate that. Go ahead. I want to
Yeah,
hear your
no,
take.
it's another guy too I thought was flying around. Raylan Wilson, that was another guy that I thought looked sharp. I mean, he was bound and determined to have a breakout year, and then I know it's only one game. We don't know, but I guess this is the place to overreact. But maybe this is the sign of a good showing for a breakout season. One thing, like it looked like Gunnar, a couple of times. Again, I don't want to get too much into it, but it's like he would look at his first read and then just check down. And I thought he had time a couple of times, and he just almost looked like he just got like quick to just dump it off to
But
like a
wouldn't you
running back,
rather
a
that
receiver. But
than forcing the ball like Arch Manning was doing all day?
oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely an overreaction to something that's probably not a bigger deal than it
Yeah.
needs to be. But we didn't have to show anything. He didn't have to force anything. That's the problem, the good problem that we have. But just a couple of times, I'd like to have seen him try to just get it downfield. But again, that's just wishful thinking. But I'm but Chris Cole flying around. I thought that. I mean, Justin Williams. I mean, our middle linebackers are. I mean, you know this. I'm preaching to the choir with this, but it's a special group.
Ridiculous.
And I mean, it's like our number twos could play just about anywhere else in the country right now too. So
Twos and
definitely a
threes.
good problem to have. Yeah, no, for sure. So
Here's my
the running
take on
back rooms.
Oh, go ahead. I'm
Say
sorry.
what?
Go ahead.
No, you're good, Radi. Go ahead.
Let's say because you guys were mentioning, so I looked over on the defense. I want to see how they graded, not graded out, but what they racked up. Zion Branch actually had the team lead in tackles, but remember he came in at the very end there.
Yeah.
Garbage time. Yeah.
It was really garbage time. But in the real time, when things actually mattered, Raylan Wilson led the team or tied the team. He had 7 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. So you're talking about flying around. He did it. CJ Allen right behind him with 4, KJ Bolden with 4, and including a pass breakup. Chris Cole with 4 as well, including a tackle for loss. And I mean, it wasn't a huge tackle for loss, but it was behind the line. It's -1. It counts. So you want to see that in TFL. But the point being, Georgia had 6 tackles for loss. And you guys have been watching Kirby Smart for 10 years. You can tell me if I'm wrong, Trinity. You can tell me, Eddie, Jordan. When Kirby knows his defense has a team outmatched, do you see him flinging the ball downfield?
No.
And you're picking up, what was the yards per carry? Georgia was running the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
Let's see, rushing total 5.4 yards per carry.
Mm-hmm. And we probably would have had.
That's
Yeah. What's Kirby Smart going to do if he's getting 5 yards a carry and his defense is keeping you under? Yeah, they had 40 yards in the first half. 40 yards.
yeah.
He is not going to throw the ball downfield. And remember,
No.
it's there.
This is just
If
the
he
overreaction
wants
show.
it,
That's why I
he'll
had
do
to
it. And
overreact.
he will override Mike. He's like, wait, why on first down you're throwing a 60-yard out route? We a 60-yard go route. We no, let's hand it to Frazier and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
We're 2nd and 3.
Mm-hmm. And
Did anybody have on their
we've
bingo
been that way
card
his whole life, and we expect something different.
Yeah, you're right. I just didn't have on my bingo card that Peanut would be the first touchdown of the year. I know that.
But see, again, that's why I came on,
That was
guys.
special.
I was so
Yeah, that was electric.
Yo, man, I was.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, you have I was about to say, like, I was surprised that we used boy number 20 as much as we did.
Yep.
Phillips, Dwight Phillips.
Yep.
Like I
Peanut
thought,
right there.
and again, he's the great change of pace back that we don't have, or that we didn't have last year. Like he is lightning in the bottle. He's like so much faster than everybody else, and one critique I will say is that I felt like we should use Cash Jones a little bit less on 3rd down when it's like when we're using him to block. Like I feel like we should move him out in space, because there was like earlier in the game when like we gave the ball to Nate Frazier and then it was like third and like medium, and we had Cash Jones. Even though he did block, he did good because he set up the gunner on that medium long pass. But I felt like we should like put a different back in that kind of situation.
But also it depends on the call, Trinity, because
Yeah.
there were 2 times that Cash Jones saved Gunner Stockton.
Yeah.
Kill.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned one of them, but there were 2. Coach called one of them out. He's like, "Did you see him go across the formation to pick that guy up?"
That's what I was saying. I was like, that was and that comes with experience.
The only reason I say that is, what if Nate Frazier can't do that? What if Rod Robinson can't do that? What if Josh McCurry can't? They're going to put the best guy out there, and I'm with you there. Let me interrupt you guys real quick to give a shout out to Chris Garcia for the super sticker and KC for the super chat. Those actually those help. They really do. I appreciate those a lot.
Yeah. 2 things too that I wanted to mention also was that I got a text pretty quick from my group chat with my buddies. They were like, "Who's number 0 on defense?" I was like, "That's Gabe Harris. He looks different."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I had heard he had put some weight on, but dear Lord, you talk about I mean, that's not a first-year guy either. I mean, it's like, that's amazing what somebody that's already been established in that program turned into just an additional year. And then, I mean, of course, Gunner's running game was obviously special, but one thing that caught my eye was like how good his like fake handoffs were. Like his, I mean, like a couple times it was like, I think when Chauncey Bowens was it on 4th down? It's like when he ran for the touchdown, it was like, my wife was like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "What?" I mean, I thought the same thing, but then I see the camera go to Gunner, and I was like, "Dear Lord, that was that's impressive." So
kind of to your point, for me it was when I left Coach Donnan's house after doing the watch along. It was the same thing I put in my column. I'm excited about this team, because remember we saw Peanut 1 carry last year.
Jet sweep for a touchdown.
Warren Gaston, aside from getting hurt, those first 2 drives that he's out there, he looks fantastic. I know people crap on Drew Bobo, but he picked up the middle linebacker and planted him in the opposite end zone. There were plays being made, and then you're like, okay, look at Zachariah Branch. This kid, 49-yard touchdown, speed, Peanut. Zach,
is he okay? Is Branch okay? By the way, was it cramps?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, if there's something,
I think it's cramp. Yeah, it looked like cramp.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see Barber out there
on TV, but I just hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, I felt bad for the Marshall guy. You saw him go down with a cramp, and you could see his calf muscle folding in on itself.
Yeah.
They had a couple guys go down, especially in that 3rd quarter. It looked like they was giving up. To be honest, like they was tired.
Greg Steele, the tight end blocking.
Yes,
there were some asses being, and the reason I'm going to call that out by Greg Steele, because the tight end blocking last year was ass.
Yes. No, the past couple years.
And you know who was downfield a lot was 23, Jaden Riddell.
And Nate Frazier didn't break tackles last year. He did today. And Zachariah Branch should be he's 4 foot tall. But he zipped past people. So my point is, there were so many new faces or guys who were on the team, like you said, Jaden Riddell getting downfield. Oscar Delt had a good game. Lawson Lucky had a good game. So many things you could point to that were nice that I didn't get too caught up in the fact that Georgia wasn't throwing, 30, 40-yard bombs. And there were a lot of chunk plays. So I don't know. I left happy.
So can I, since this is a post-game overreaction show, can I go ahead and throw in the overreactions? Because these are mine from the game. And I'll let you guys react off of this. So first of all, Radi, you read some of the stats, the tackles, etc. It was a big 0 on the stat sheet.
Turnovers.
Sacks. No. Well, turnovers too. But mine was sacks. Nothing. We had nothing in the sack category. Hurries, okay, whatever. 0 sacks. I don't like that. Secondly, I know it's injuries. I know that we had some shuffling around on the offensive line, but I thought some of the interior blocking was not good. I thought there was pressure up the middle in Gunner's face a couple times. I know he was sack free. And then up the middle, some of the runs looked like an absolute slog, like they were getting pushed back and they were getting stonewalled. So those were my 2 overreactions. No sacks and up the middle blocking. You guys can take it with that.
Oh yeah, no. I was gonna say that I agree. And that's why there's a lot of. He had 3 batted balls. I think he had like 2 or 3 batted balls.
Yeah.
And that and like you said,
So
and that's a direct
Puglisi had one
into
too.
blocking.
Yeah, but Puglisi had one too, and that's the thing that we saw that when Stetson Bennett first started. Some of that's the window, the lane, but also you got to make your offensive lineman and the coach on the other side knows what he's doing. He's like, look, if you're not going to get to him, jump when he throws it.
Yeah,
but you make it so that son of a bitch never jumps again. I guarantee you that Jordan probably, if he ever played offensive line, if somebody jumped up to bat a ball down, he took that big ham fist of his and stuck it in his rib cage.
Mm-hmm.
Don't lie, Jordan. We can see it in your head there. And that kid, they didn't jump again.
Him like I do have an overreaction, and it might be my pie in the sky, but I got, and this is my last thing, and I'll go let someone else come on. I kind of got a feeling this reminds me of Tim Tebow with Florida, and with Gunner, it's just something about how the team supports him. And when I was watching him, I was like, I'm seeing a Tim Tebow-esque kind of thing working for Georgia. I feel he's a way better thrower than Tebow, but he's not as big, stout and let's say girthy, bigger or whatever. He's not as stout as Tebow, but I feel like he's a better mover, like he's more agile and he's a better thrower. And I'm not saying he's Tim Tebow because Tim Tebow was goated in college, couldn't stand him, but in college it worked. But for Gunner, I feel like Georgia, we could maybe have that kind of magic. I don't know if y'all agree with that, but I just thought about that. That's the feeling I got. But thank y'all, fellas. Man, I hope y'all have a good night. And man, this is the best. This is the best outcoming that we could have with Bama and Texas going down.
Yes, sir. I agree with
you.
I think I was more ecstatic over Bama losing after our game than I was Georgia doing what they did. That made me actually happy.
For sure.
All right, fellas, y'all have a good night.
Thanks, Trudy.
Thank you.
No, and no, he's not comparing the quarterbacks at all. He's just talking about the connection they had and
the way they play.
Yeah, and the way they play for him, and you saw how everybody, when Peanut scored, this whole team went nuts because they love him. When Gunner ran it in, they mobbed him. And of course, you celebrate with the team, but there's something, I don't even call it organic, something real in it that extends beyond it because you suffered with that guy and you genuinely like him. Now, if I don't like Eddie, but if our show blew up, I would be like, yay, great. Hey, Eddie, remember when we used to suck and now we have 750,000 followers watching our game? We were there when it was, 700 people. And now it's big. But I don't really like him. But when Paul comes on, Paul's my boy. I love Paul. So if we blew it up with Paul, I would be excited.
Notice how he said that twice, right? He said it twice.
Again, so I say this about it. When Carson was winning, they would celebrate with him because you're out on the same team and you go in and it's us versus them.
Yep.
But you saw the difference when Trevor Etienne scored last year. Guys loved it.
Well,
when
just
scored,
remember when
they lost their damn mind when Peanut scored.
Yeah, and you bring to mind. You remember when Carson made that one great first down, and he got that, and he made that. I don't remember any of the other team members coming up to him. And when Gunner came in and blew up a guy, the place went bananas. All the team did. You remember that? And he just laid his shoulder into that guy, and the place went crazy. I mean, you're exactly right.
The sideline loves him.
Around that,
they will play for him. He will play for them. And again, that doesn't get you an automatic first down. It doesn't get you a damn thing. And people hate to hear about it. They don't care that he drives a truck versus Lambo. If he doesn't have a quick release, doesn't make the right reads, screw that guy. I get that part of it, but I'm just saying, at some point, it does matter. And what frustrated me with Carson last year, there were times it's like, Carson, if you'd kept that, you'd still be running. And you saw when the backside guy in this game, he just said, look, I'm coming from the backside. And he dropped Georgia's running backs 3 times, number 22. And then all of a sudden, Carson keeps one, walks in. You know, it's like, hey, see ya.
Radi, you bring up a great point. I don't know how many times I came on this post-game overreaction show last year, and you guys got mad at me because I was like, something is missing with this team. Something is – you all felt it too. It was just missing.
We're not going to give you the satisfaction, but yeah.
No, of course not.
Exactly right. But did you feel that today, like something was missing? No. I didn't.
Yeah, the downfield passing game, but I mean, that can be fixed.
Okay. Yes.
But again, that is
overall point you get, right?
No, we get it for sure. It definitely, you could tell it just in one game this year for a whole season last year. It just like it stuck out. I mean, it's clear as day. Even the halftime of the Texas SEC championship game, you could tell the difference. Yeah. Guys patting him on the hat, like and bringing him on, like encouraging him.
No, you're right, and I want to bring that up because you talk about the way they rallied around. That was his first being thrown in the fire. It's SEC championship game, and he was able to handle that. That's
right
because they rallied around him. So we're going to bring on the man Paul Meharry.
I told him I'd see him on here tonight.
Probably.
Man, boys, how's it going?
We're thriving.
Good. You tell us.
Better now, right?
I think, I'm here, man. We had a few brews today. We had a few shots. We're home. Good. We made it home. We just ordered some Domino. So real quick before we get into the post game show.
A roast.
Yeah, we had a pig roast. It was all right. Yeah, it was good.
So why do you order pizza?
So well, you're hungry, and apparently, if you order off of DoorDash, I thought that the DoorDash man would bring it. It was Domino's that brought it. Forgot my garlic sauce. Forgot my marinara. Wasn't good.
They're the professionals. How they screw that up?
And he went to the lake too first before he came here. Anyways, it's a long story. All right, we ate. We're all right. As far as the game goes, sitting here watching it, being able to be retired and not have to watch every play was kind of wild. But Zachariah Branch real fast, real quick. I didn't like there was if we're overreacting, because I can overreact now on this side of things. I didn't like how Gunner's first read after he looked downfield, his guy wasn't there, and he scrambled out of pressure was to go run. And I know that's how he did it in high school, right? That was his thing. He could run up. Paul's showing up like the Unabomber. Damn, doctor. All right. Thanks, brother.
He's not wrong.
We're trying. We're trying. All right. We're here.
I've never seen them in the same room.
Paul looks better with a mohawk. Hey, Dan, Greg, you can kiss my ass, Greg. I'm receding. Okay. It's not a mohawk. This is how I cut my hair. Thank you. If you want to come on here. Yeah, if you want to come on here and talk, Greg, we can. Come into the chat, brother. Me and you, one mano. I'm not getting paid by UGA Sports anymore. We can go, baby. Let's ride it if you want to.
That's Dr. Greg. That's Dr. Greg to you, Paul.
Anyways,
Dr. Greg to you.
Yeah, he's probably a chiropractor. And so he's like, yeah, we can all get a doctorate in social studies. Anyways, I didn't like how Gunner's first read after looking down the field was to run the ball. And the only reason I don't like that is because if he gets hurt, I like Pugs, and there's not a freaking QB controversy. Gunner's the guy, okay? And damn, did you just wake up? Yeah, brother. It's been a long day in the pool. I didn't like that. Defense looked good. 0 sacks. Very concerning. Very concerning. You need to get home at least to one of those 3 quarterbacks that they had in there. I was impressed, but not over the moon, if that makes sense.
We played Marshall. I mean, you shouldn't be over the moon, right? Unless you beat them 70-0.
I don't know. 45-7 still should sit good. It's not sitting great. The drunk and Brett.
Why? Brett, tell me why. Okay, you mentioned sack, and you mentioned Gunner You mentioned no. I'm seriously poking at you here because I want to know.
I know you always
mentioned the
poke
sacks
at me.
earlier. No, I mentioned the sacks earlier, and I think you're 100% right there. Gunner, yes, maybe a tendency to run when he shouldn't have, possibly. But I think Radi brings up a good point. When you're playing a Marshall, you're not looking to bomb the ball downfield. The running game is working. They're going to be vanilla, not show anything, run the ball, let 5 running backs get the ball, and just go home. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm so sick of this vanilla talk, dude. Throw the ball downfield so we can see if you can do it.
He did.
Why are we?
Twice. He had 2 touchdowns. One guy was interfering.
Oh, he had 2. He had 2. They're both on the stat sheet. They're both there. We can go back and look at those and see those.
Technically, yes. He did have 2 passing touchdowns.
Well, yeah, he had 2 touchdowns. Yeah,
the expert knows what I'm talking about.
Well, they're not the 2 touchdowns you're talking about. E from A.
No, but you understand my point. One was interfered with. He put the ball exactly where it was supposed to be. The other, if the guy runs to the pylon, that's a touchdown. He stopped running.
Yeah, and if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
No, he threw it where it needed to be thrown is the point, okay? She doesn't have balls, by the way.
She might.
I hope not. Well, yeah, you never know. But hey, with my family, hey, dude, I got webbed toes, dude. You never know with my family tree. she might, dude.
He grew up in industrial waste over in
yeah, dude. Yeah. I grew up in straight up asbestos, dude. I'm lucky to be alive right now. Why is?
But you got to be pleased with how the game went, and we had our starters in halfway through the 3rd quarter. They were out. And we didn't even see any of that almost last year, right? Puglisi's taken over. Gunner got almost no experience last year, and there were tons of young kids all over the field in the 3rd and the 4th quarter, right? You got to be happy with that.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you do. I hope Gadsden's okay. I think you need him. I think you probably need Ernest Green a little bit more than Gadsden, just because you have a couple more guys that can fill in at guard than you probably can at tackle. Again, defense has got to get home. I was watching the game, but I was also just pounding drinks and eating a pig. Did Elo get in the game much? Was he in there a lot?
Elo had a couple plays. Yeah.
I really thought that he was going to be kind of out there torching it from what he did at Army.
You got to remember he's undersized compared to what they have out there, and he's behind. Gabe Harris, who's been chomping at the bit.
Not undersized.
He's really big. And, you saw Quatavius Johnson, number 33, out there lined up. And when you saw I saw the starting 4. And, again, this is why I was excited. I'm like, ooh, Jordan Hall. Hey,
first play. Jordan Hall was in the backfield.
Right. That's right.
Christian Miller. And then Gabe Harris on one side and Quatavius Johnson on the other. I'm like, Jesus, that ain't joking around, And again, Dayne Everett wasn't even out there, so losing him. So defense, no questions. The Deacons basically, and on that same drive that they gave up the touchdown, there was a push off that was beyond.
That was horrible.
That was terrible.
That's a little garbage. But hey, actually, they're not going to call it when you're kicking someone's ass 45 to nothing. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, it's don't let him push you down, and then don't let him score. The people that want to see the downfield passing, Paul, I would rather see, especially after on the same night, you had 2 teams that were on the ropes, and both of their quarterbacks took off for touchdown runs within 3 minutes of each other. Give me a running quarterback in the college football game. You weren't going to get that with Carson back. He's too busy protecting his future capabilities. But Gunner, I can see why you don't want him to go out there and get hurt. But the dude, he's a beast. Maybe. Heaven forbid, if he gets hurt, then you bring in Ryan Puglisi, who's got that laser arm. Yeah. The problem with Puglisi, let me warn people real quick before you answer that. He throws turnovers in practice.
I think maybe getting hurt was the wrong way of wording it. It's he got out of pressures and had the capability to look back up and see what was downfield, but he took off downfield instead.
No, you're right. I think you're right. I think
And
you're
he did
right.
that. He did
Yeah,
that 3 or
that's
4
spot on.
times, to where he
That's
could
spot
have
on.
looked downfield and been like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, 20-yard pass, somebody's free." But he's just so used to taking off. They'll fix that though. That's a very fixable thing.
Sure.
But to see, I mean, we were in the group chat. I mean, to see him running and getting in the end zone, doing those triple option type play, like I don't know when the last time we saw that was.
He
Like
made it look silly.
it's really good to see that as opposed to Carson sitting back there. There were plenty of times where I think Carson probably would have been sacked in this game 2 or 3 times where Gunner got out of it.
Yeah.
And then also the tip ball was a bit concerning. I think in the SEC that probably is an interception. Against Marshall, it's not. But the tip balls are a little concerning. We had the same concern though with Stetson. It is what it is.
Can I throw one back at you, Paul? Though, so if y'all watched the Auburn game last night, the Tech game last night, the Texas game today, Ohio State, Alabama today, where's the downfield threat on all those teams? And we play them all: Texas, Tech, Auburn. Where Bama? Where's the downfield threat?
Hey, I'll give you credit because the way they schemed up Texas, Arch had nowhere to go downfield.
Yeah.
No.
That's like the one pass he threw was in the double coverage. I mean, the really long one. Team, you're right. I haven't seen a lot of air raids out there. That's
Nope.
That part of it. I mean, it's the evolution of the game. But again, what drives you crazy? And I mean, when you have that capability to just go with a power read, a GH counter with the quarterback running behind it, I'm like, okay. And again, Georgia did not have my disappointment, third down conversions. But I feel a lot more comfortable going into third down conversions when it's 3rd and 1, knowing that I got a quarterback who can run it.
Oh, yeah.
And they're worried about him running it. Georgia was great on 4th down because you got a quarterback who can take it to the house. So, and he looks good when he decides to run. It's a pretty, like you said, pretty quick decision. To me, that's great. But I got to give Paul credit. Yeah, maybe you fake it and look up, and all of a sudden Colby Young is free because everyone else thought.
Yeah,
you kind of start.
Paul's point is 100% valid.
Hey, he gets one a show, man.
I was going to say,
boy.
go ahead
Paul.
and record that from Eddie right there. I don't get much praise from that guy up there.
Good deal.
But yeah, I think overall, you did what you had to do. You got in, you got out. Hopefully, no big injuries, right? And
except for Ernest Green, is he injured?
It's a lower body, according to
I
Dash.
just heard nothing. They said nothing. By the way, ESPN sucks. Their broadcast is terrible.
Well, you're not getting it's much like the Peach State Power Hour. You're not getting the top tier, when it's Georgia versus Marshall. You're getting, Eddie from Ackworth. You're not getting Radi and Paul. I mean, it depends on who you're playing.
Well, I mean, they were interviewing the Marshall coach one time, and they missed the play that was going on while they're interviewing the coach.
It's the first game of the season. They got to get the jitters out too.
ESPN's been doing this for 45 damn years. Get it right. I mean, come on. It's pathetic.
No, I'm with you there because there were times, coaches asking me questions about it, who's the other cornerback, and they're either on the side, they're doing the funny thing about the hedges because, I've never seen any people
care about that.
It's
so stupid.
We got to remember when your 2 reporters and your sideline reporters show up, this might be their first time in Athens, and they need a skit. They need something to talk about something, and they know it's going to be a blowout. So they come up with these ideas.
1996,
and they run these ideas by the producer, and they produce segments or they produce hits that they're going to do throughout the show. They get their research guys to say, hey, we're going to talk about so-and-so's parents. Or we're going to, interview so-and-so on the sideline. Because the sideline reporter, hey, look, I ran into Trayvon Walker. Should we get him on air? Oh, absolutely. Well, we're going to miss the, 2nd and 4 and the 3rd and 1 plays, but we're going to be talking to Trayvon Walker, who's a terrible interview. Love the guy, but he's not a great interview. And he's not going to say anything. Or we're going to play some jokes on the cornball stuff about the UGA or the sidelines. But we're not going to give you the all 22 view so you can see the fact that Dayne Everett, your starting cornerback, isn't out there.
Right. Right. And they called Ellis Robinson Dalen Everett one time. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just, whatever.
you know.
Anyway, this is
No, I like to think Chris is right. Jefferson Pilot had a better broadcast.
No, you're right. I mean, come on.
I don't. What does that? What does that mean?
Oh yeah,
I think you're telling your age there, Ruddy. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't know Jefferson Pilot?
No, is that the store, the convenience store before you get to Athens?
No, that's who used to broadcast the games. Matt Stewart, man, Jefferson Pilot. Come on.
Before there was ESPN Ocho and Plus and all that other stuff, there used to be the Jefferson Pilot Game of the Week. And like I said, Matt Stewart, who I've worked with for years, and a lot of those guys who got their jobs at ESPN started out with some of the smaller ones like Jefferson Pilot or CSS or some of those others. So.
Okay, I've heard of CSS. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so before CSS was Jefferson Pilot.
Well, before, I don't know, I was going to say something stupid. Anyways,
who you're most excited to see? Young kid, freshman, whatever. Who most excited you today?
Probably Peanut, man. I think Peanut carved himself. And I've been a big Chauncey Bowens guy. That was my guy last year. He didn't get in. I don't. They tried to use him. He wasn't getting able to break free. But you got to like having 3 sophomore running backs that you can kind of rotate in there and do that. It was really weird to me. I thought we'd see a lot more of Josh McCray and Roderick Robinson. They seem to have been passed up on la depth chart.
Didn't even get a snap, did he?
I didn't see him.
Yeah.
It's they might have been passed up. Maybe, but the sophomores I really liked. So good to see Peanut out there and carve out a role. I mean, he's a smaller back, so get him.
Sophomores, KJ Bolden, we forget it. KJ Bolden is a sophomore, right? And that guy's playing like a 5th-year senior. I mean, it's just crazy how young this team is.
He's doing what Malachi Starks did. Malachi Starks in year 2
exactly
kind of took over, and KJ Bolden did as well. It's funny. Last time I was talking to KJ, you remember our first interview? He's like, I said, you were playing running back at Buford in Cedar Grove. Yeah, everybody was there. So, guy was young, but it was a true.
Yeah.
But no, Eddie's right. We don't think about KJ Bolden in the same regard as Dwight Phillips. They've been there the same exact time. It's just he's taken over that defense. I mean, he's probably if you had to name a leader, him and CJ Allen. Probably the main leaders since Paul was.
I was surprised to see Ethan Barber in as early as. Oh shit! I missed that.
Oh my gosh!
We fired him for
not inspiring. Worked to his advantage, right?
Yeah, that's great. That's excellent. Oh man!
Just one more thing, and then I'll hop off. I don't want to. If there's
I'm gonna get out of here too soon. There's probably folks waiting. Probably triple G's out there.
We never let John on, so
there we go.
Oh, is it Carrollton John?
Oh well, it's John.
Oh shit, it's way too small. Oh, there's John. Damn, I can't see shit.
He's already been on. He's back on.
I know. I just wanted to see my man Paul. I couldn't. I'm sorry, Eddie. I apologize.
Me?
You too, Eddie. But I need to know how much of a super chat I got to drop to get a background like that.
You got to drop, dude. You got to be in my DMs constantly. You got to create a group text.
Mine or Paul's.
Your background, Eddie. I like that.
Thank you. Well, I took a picture of it and I put it back there. So there you go.
I thought it was like a real backdrop. Hey, I don't know if y'all seen the presser. Fans got called out again indirectly, and rightly so.
By whom?
Oh, really?
Reporter asked Coach, what did you think about the sparse crowd or something like that? He goes, you said it, I didn't.
Oh, did he really?
I'm telling you, and next week's going to be the same. And I've said this on this show before. Until she quit showing up with her stadium seat, the meadow frame, and they had pimento cheese, and she's got her 3D sweater, and they get people in there, it's going to continue to be the same thing. Because
that pimento cheese 3D sweater lady pays the NIL though.
I get that. But the game day atmosphere, and I love the University of Georgia. The game day, he's 100% right. If that'd have been Baton Rouge against Louisiana Lafayette, it'd have been rocking.
See, that's crap. It's
I
rocking
don't. I
for a
don't.
time. There are lulls there too.
Well, let me just say this. I believe that it would have been sparse pregame, and I would say by half. I'll give you, but it would have been rocking to start the game. It would have been rocking to start the game.
Yeah.
What is it?
That's very true, Dr. Greg. That's very true.
I'll have to put. I'm gonna hire Dr. Greg. This dude's funny as shit.
He needs a job. The chiropractor's not working out too well. It's slow time of the month.
Well, I agree with him. I mean, it's not going to change.
No,
Well, I got to give.
No, it's not.
I got.
I don't like that.
I got to give Kirby Smart credit because, year 32 for me covering Georgia. Started out in the stadium 1993 as a student photographer. There were times people would say, "Hey, you've been to all the SEC stadiums except Texas A&M. What's the loudest stadium?" I'd be like, "Oh, that's easy. It's LSU or Tennessee." Like, what about Georgia? You cover Georgia? I'm like, "Yeah, it's not loud. It's not." Now, when Georgia played LSU and Leonard Floyd dropped the guy, the place went bonkers.
Yeah.
But when Kirby got here and started, what was it, a few years ago? Maybe it was before that Arkansas game when he challenged everybody to come out and be loud, and they showed up for that.
I was there. Yeah.
And they had 7 procedure penalties. It's him challenging the fans to come out early, and he would do it a lot. He said, "We need to make this tough," and he didn't have that at Alabama. He's faced it as a defensive coordinator in other places. He's faced it in his career. He basically taught the fans how to cheer, and I say that because Georgia fans, especially in basketball, will cheer when something big happens. They don't cheer to create something, to make something happen. Kirby's like, "Look, I need you to be loud beforehand and screw them up, and things will happen."
Yeah.
How loud do you want to get against Marshall, man?
That's my point. Next week
you are
it's
the
gonna be
victim.
worse.
He is the victim of his own success because
Okay.
you're not going to show up
in 3
early
weeks,
against Marshall.
The place is going to be off the hizzy when Bama comes in here.
Exactly.
No doubt.
Texas,
No doubt.
Texas, Ole Miss, it's going to be sideways.
No. I guess my
It's gonna be
question was,
He wants Texas crowd against Marshall, and it's not going to happen.
it's not going to happen. I get
It
it.
doesn't happen. But here's the thing:
Right.
It doesn't happen anywhere, though.
No,
It doesn't happen
Exactly. That's my
in
point.
any place. Like, but to call out the fans like that are giving tons to this university, I don't like
I
that.
don't like that either. I don't
you know,
like that.
you're playing against Marshall. So when you're so let me ask you this, John, because I know you're in the crowd of it should be loud all the time. Like you said, the 3D sweaters should leave, it's things like that. When you're watching it at home, do you watch as closely and is on the edge of your seat when they're playing Marshall and it's 38-7 compared to when it's 23-20 against Texas?
No. That's not what I was saying. No, you're 100% correct, all of you. I guess, of course, and to your point earlier, that lovely TV broadcast. I guess what I thought he was implying is that nobody showed up. I didn't say anything about that. The lady just said the reporter was like, she used the word
Oh,
sparse.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know
She
how.
said something, and he
full the
said,
That
stadium
place
was.
was filled to the brim at the
It
beginning.
looked like it was.
Okay,
It looked like it was.
then
Yeah.
It's great on TV.
But you're
Yeah.
you're 100%. All of you are 100% correct. They're not. You're right. Even if Illinois would have showed up today, to play, it'd have been a little bit more of a.
But there are lulls in football games. We
Right.
had 3 punts there in the first quarter or whatever.
Right.
And after it was 21-0, we're all kind of like, yeah, that's just part of football. He should
Right.
understand that better. I understand what he's doing, Roddy. He's calling them out because they got to be up here the entire. That's not possible when you're playing Marshall, when you're playing Austin Peay. When we
Right.
play Bama, it will be ridiculous, provided they don't go into those lulls. And they
Yeah, well,
probably will.
let me defend him though, real quick. Simply because Kirby coaches nonstop. So
Right.
when someone says, "Hey, the crowd was sparse," and he wants them to show up the whole time, he can say, "Well, you said it, I didn't." He's mad that they gave up a touchdown at 45-0. He's mad that there's any drop in the standard. The standard is show up early, scream until you can't be, your voice is gone. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter that it will be, everybody will be sideways when Texas, Ole Miss, and Alabama come to town. He's like, if we're that way all the time, then there's no drop off, and I want you to cheer to the standard. So that's just, it's Kirby's nature. He's not being an ass in this instance, but.
Well, somebody did ask about Daylen Everett, and you can tell he's a little edgy. He said he's injured. Or Juan Gaston, he'll tell you the whole thing. He was like, Juan Gaston, we don't know if it's high ankle. We're getting an MRI. Then the next question was, what about Daylen Everett? He's injured. You could tell he did not want to answer.
No, and here's the thing. Another thing that ticked me off. So everyone reported that it was Janelle Aguero that got hurt because, maybe it's the same person or same people who reached out to us, our sister site, Dogs HQ. Some other sites reported the same thing, and sometimes places take their information and repeat it as if it's their own. Not going to name names, but it happens. They all ran with it, which is great to find out who actually has sources and who doesn't, because a lot of people repeated our incorrect report and they were wrong. So on Wednesday, Kirby's asked about Janelle Aguero's injury, and he goes, he's fine. He's a star. He's 100% healthy. He could have easily said, oh, well, they're confused, and it wasn't 8, it was 6. Daylen Everett got banged up. And so don't get in the snit, Kirby, just because we found out what happened in practice.
So he's mad about that.
So he's mad that we reported that Janelle Aguero was injured. And we were wrong. I mean, we very seldom get it wrong, but we were dead wrong with that one. I've apologized relentlessly, but it wasn't 24 hours. We're like, hey, the correction is it's the starting cornerback, not the starting star that's injured. And of course, on Thursday and Friday, you get no access to the team, so there's no way we could do it. But we warned people ahead of time that he was wearing a boot on Wednesday, and he didn't play today. So Kirby says he's injured, and he can be short-tempered about it because he's still mad that we reported the wrong guy.
I mean, they have the legends of the hidden temple in those practices, so it's good that we can't see that. I see those come out onto the field. It'd be tough to see.
I said this earlier, and I'd love to get this scheme panel's opinion. You knew you had to be upgrade wide receiver. 100%, it's upgraded, no doubt. Offensive line, other than Drew Bobo, was anybody overly impressed? Because I wasn't, even though it was Marshall.
No, I think the run game was lacking up the middle.
Yes, it was.
Again, other than Drew Bobo, nothing impressed me. And Gaston only got to play a handful, but he may have been. Drew Bobo, 100%, best player of the 5, impressive, plays hard. The other 4.
But hold on, John. Let me. I was really only going to stay on here for 15 minutes. I'm losing my damn buzz. Last year,
you can drink while you're on the air, Paul. It's okay.
Yeah, no, you can't. No, they'd call AA on me. If last year we said, hey, this O-line had injuries and that's why they weren't good. Today had injuries too, did it not?
Absolutely today.
So the cohesion wasn't there, much like last year where everybody.
Bo Hughley playing tackle, right? For most of the
correct. So the cohesion that you had throughout the whole summer of the starting 5, 2 of those guys went out. Last year, you guys gave me hell for giving it to the offensive line because of injuries. Let's not say that it wasn't good this time because 2 guys did go out that were starters.
That's right.
I agree, and I do need to say this because I don't feel terrible, but I do apologize to Monroe Freeling for dog cussing in the Notre Dame game, and then only to find out that he's playing with one arm. So I do apologize to Monroe Freeling.
You're not the only one that has dog cussed Monroe Freeling about that game. Trust me.
Monroe Freeling cussed himself.
But he did. I mean,
he's never played.
But playing one arm, I mean, that's pretty good. He did okay. I mean, if you only have one arm, I mean. But I don't know, and you hope.
And Micah Morris had a club on too.
That's right.
Yeah.
And right. I'd love to get your take after you watch it. Again, in press conference because they asked Coach about Ernest Green. He tightened up or something. I guess something to that effect. You can tell he was not as amped to talk about it as he was Juan Gaston. So I don't know. He just said, yeah, I think he tightened up or something. I don't know. They looked at it.
I didn't have a whole lot of issues with the offensive line. Hey, no sacks, time to throw. A lot of times they were over. I mean, sometimes you got to look at the scheme. Okay, so the inside zone didn't work. Well, when they overcommit with the linebackers, what are you supposed to do? You blocked your men. They brought more men than you had.
Yeah, only so many bodies.
And again, I'm not making excuses, but
No.
Kirby literally had no tape on Marshall. This was a total
That's what when I first got on. You missed it when I first got on. First thing I said.
Yeah, Coach Donnan said they could have come out in the triple option for God's sake, and we wouldn't have been ready for it, right? Because we had no idea schemes on either offense or defensive side. Now I know it's Marshall. And John, I understand what you're saying. I'm with you. I thought the interior blocking was not up to par. There was a lot of stuff in his face. I'm talking about the quarterback's face, Gunner's face, that shouldn't have been there. And when they ran the ball up the middle, it was not good. It was a total slog. When they got on the edges, things looked a lot better. So you got work to do there, 100%, John. I think you're right about that. I don't think that's an overreaction at all.
Here's the thing: when you're running up the middle, what's after the guys they pick up? The linebackers.
Yeah.
Running up the middle is one of the hardest things in football, So to me, again, last year, the offensive, to me, almost the entire year, I felt like everything the offense did was hard. And it was just frustrating. Like you said, something was missing, Eddie, in the offense. It's just, why is it so hard to get a third down conversion? Why is it so hard to – and Georgia won the damn SEC. So –
It did. To your point, Roddy, it did feel easier today. The offense felt easier.
Right.
It might not have been so much downfield passing. It might have been Gunner's legs. It just looked easier today than probably any game last year. Honestly.
Hey, I mean, you went up 45-0.
Yeah, and it was Marshall. It was Marshall, and you can say I'm not a big oh my gosh, he's a rah. There's a definite difference in, I don't even know their chemistry, guys. Like, you can tell on that team or that offense and I'm not saying it was Carson Beck, but there was a different kind of mentality. Maybe it's because it was the first game. I'm anxious to see if that goes on the rest of the season. You could tell something was different on offense. Obviously, it was players, but. And my last question for you guys: we've clearly, by who got carries today in this blowout, seen the last of Rod Robinson. Correct? He's no longer going to play at the University of Georgia.
He was beat up before, so we weren't sure how much he was going to get in this one. But Peanut is great. Nate Frazier is your leader. Chauncey Bowens is the guy who's been the most consistent number 2 or number 3. And Cash Jones, I mean, I asked inside the program, I said, who's the number 2 running back? I said, Cash Jones.
Oh, that's funny as hell, Roddy. On Sunday, I did a special guest segment on the Peach State Power Hour, and they said, who's the second running back to come in the game? I said Cash Jones, and I was laughed off the show. That's interesting.
That's because you changed it, and you said, in all seriousness, guys, I'm kidding. The first guy.
You can't make a joke and then claim
pull it up on tape. I have it. I'll send you the timestamp.
I bet you do. You watch me all the time. You probably watch me in your dreams.
I do. I laugh at you is what I do because you're a fucking joke.
God, I'll punch you. I'll punch you in the face.
John, I think you're 100% right. I'll back you on that. I think Rod Robinson's checked out after today.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was hurt. I thought he was hurt in 23 and 24. I thought he's back.
He wasn't hurt today, was he?
That's what I'm saying.
The hope is that he was hurt today. If not, then John's right. He's done. Yeah,
we weren't hearing about him in the scrimmages. We weren't hearing about that, and we were told that he's still recovering. Just like we were also remember, a lot of people reported Brett Thorson was fine, and then we started telling people Brett Thorson's not fine. He's questionable for the first game. No, he's fine. Brett Thorson didn't punt today.
Who was it either last year or the year before that Kirby said, he's week to week, but we didn't see him for like 8 weeks. I can't remember who it was.
Dude, I remember when
probably Roderick Robinson. Yeah. No, but Brett Thorson to what you're talking about, Roddy, I think that was more on like having to be a safety valve on the coverage, right? If he punts, that's why he's not in the game. He can probably punt fine, but if he has to run and chase somebody down, that's not what we need to see.
Yeah, but you can tell him not to. My point is you don't need him right now. You got other guys that can do it. And so I think that might be a situation with Rod Robinson. But injury-wise, this is from Anthony Dasher on UGA Sports. Kirby said the one Gaston had an MRI. He thinks it's an ankle. He does not know if it's a higher ankle injury or not. Said that Ernest Green is dealing with some lower body deal. and confirmed Dayne Everett's injury. Basically, stuff that John told us here a second ago. But I wanted to recap to show that it's a good time to be on the dog vent if you want updates. We have them coming in. We've also published like 5 stories already, so fun stuff coming there.
Best.
All right, guys. Well,
I'm about to
I'm going
take
to.
this.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all.
Enjoyed it. Glad to have y'all. Glad to be back. Go Dogs.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jordan.
I'm out next. We'll see you later. Take it easy, boss.
See you guys. Thanks.
Good stuff, Jordan. All right, we got William Carlson's going to come on here in a second. Let's bring on William.
He can replace me.
I just wanted to say hey to Paul.
Oh, sorry. Paul's too drunk to hear you right now. So.
No, man,
No,
no.
he can hear you. He's still listening.
Okay, Thorson. If 9 months doesn't heal your ACL, what does 9 months and 2 weeks do for your ACL? That's a question.
Yeah, it's a good question, but it's a situation I kind of think where Eddie had a good point where you don't need to chance it. Remember, this guy can punt against Tennessee.
Well, I mean,
they're still reeling from him.
I've just wondered, you always say, oh, gosh, because, I mean, he got hurt the 1st of January in the Sugar Bowl. If he can't play if you got to hold him out today to be careful, I don't know. I just don't get how 2 weeks makes that much of a difference if 9 months doesn't make that much of a difference.
Well, I mean, this is my third bourbon. What's 4?
Not
One
much.
less than 5.
You sip it, you'll be fine, Roddy.
I'm just saying, if you're close, if you're really close to being back, and he's punting, and Kirby said, he hasn't been punting in live action, i.e. out there. He's punting on the side. And then last week he punted live action. So maybe next week he punts live action on Tuesday, on Bloody Tuesday, in the actual drills. It's like the maturation on a CD or something. If it's a 5-year CD.
I'm great. That's the kind of things like, he can play this week, but he's like Robinson last year, but he never comes in. But
yeah,
I hope he comes in and.
Well, I'll make a bet with you, William. I'll bet you against Tennessee, Brett Thorson's our punter.
I hope he wins the way guy.
And I understand what you're saying, but do we need a punter like Brett Thorson against Marshall and Austin Peay? You don't, right? I mean, we're fine. So,
yeah.
But I understand your overall point for sure, no doubt.
Thanks, Jordan, for that super chat.
It just came up. I guess my overreaction is cautiously optimistic. I love the way they look for stretches, and for stretches they didn't look good. And it's going to be a great year.
See, that's the way I came in, William. I left being. I have seen Gunnar Stockton throw bombs. To me, he is more accurate downfield than Carson Beck. Remember, Carson downfield was not great.
Who?
So when Gunnar, I've seen it in real time, real life. He has a great touch on the ball. People can say it takes him too long to wind up, whatever. Again, that's neither here nor there. What I haven't seen Carson Beck do was, hey, it's 4th down. I'm gonna read the end, and I'm gonna take off my legs. I'm gonna avoid a rush. I'm gonna avoid a sack, and I'm gonna be an absolute beast with my legs. I'm gonna score a couple of rushing touchdowns. That's the college game. Running court. I will tell you this. I know someone who mentioned a quarterback to Kirby Smart. This is hey, I watched this kid at another school. This quarterback, he's a starter, a small school, in college football. And I think he was great. The first question Kirby asked him, not how hard can he throw it, not how tall he was, how big he was. Kirby asked him, can he run it? Can he run? Does he have leg? That's the game. What has been Kirby Smart's kryptonite? He's one of the best defensive minds in college football, running quarterbacks.
Yep.
I see you arching race you 2 Gunners in a heartbeat. Because from what I saw today, and I understand the competition was completely different, Gunner's ability to pull the ball and, you know, I understand it's Marshall, but he ran straight at a defensive end and just left his jock strap right there on the ground and went in for a touchdown. And he could, you know, I like the way Gunner looked. The
He
long
did,
balls,
yeah.
they'll. All right, here's my thing. He got better on the long balls once Ernest Green got out of the game. But because those first couple that they tried, Green got blowed up. And I hope, I don't know, I just saw again from the Sugar Bowl the same thing from Green today till he was gone. Um, but,
Keith
you
brings
know,
up a really good point right there, Roddy. I mean,
Yeah.
no turnovers and lack of penalty. What do we have? One penalty? I can't even think. Okay.
Two penalties in the
I
first
can think
game.
of one. Yeah.
Now, no turnovers is big, but did Georgia get a turnover?
No. And we
No.
talked about that. No sacks, no turnovers. So you got to.
That
No
was
sacks,
that
no
was something they
turnovers.
worked on, and that's
Yeah.
concerning. Is no defensive turnovers.
It is.
But they also
And
did not give up a
and to
sack.
be honest, we were lucky there because Peanut had one running down the sidelines. He got that ball punched out. He's in the middle of the field. That's probably a turnover, right? You remember that play? So he's got to hold on to the football. So we were lucky, and that could have been a fumble on Delp. And I thought it was a fumble, but they ruled it not. So whatever, no turnovers. We'll take that. But I'm just I don't know the gentleman's name below us, Roddy. I'm sorry you took it off the screen, but I'm just not worried about Gunner throwing it down the field. I think he's going to be fine. Again, this is Marshall. You're not going to be gunning it all over the place. And I'll just go back to what I said earlier. You look at Auburn, you look at Tech, you look at Texas, you look at LSU, you look at Clemson right now. Nobody's throwing the ball downfield. Nobody's torching defenses throwing the ball downfield. So I'm not worried one bit about it. We are playing exactly what we need to be playing in 2025 college football with a running quarterback who can run a triple option if he needs to. I love it.
Yeah. Very, very interesting question here. I don't mean to cut you off, William, but this thing from Mr. Matt says, I want to see if Gunner can throw to his left. Other than that, I like what I saw. Did he not throw to his left? I didn't really notice that.
Throw to Zechariah Branch was to his left, right?
Yeah, because Zach took off down the left hash line.
Yeah, that was the left side of the field. So there you go.
But again, I mean, that's a
screen
off. You know,
unless he's talking about while rolling to his left, but
but I think I know what he's saying.
Like a playmaker.
The majority of the throws are to the right side of the field.
That's a good one. A lot of people said that he was staring down his receivers. Levi Carter says Gunner definitely needs to run through his progressions much quicker. There are a lot of people saying that he was telegraphing where he was going to go with the ball. That to me would be concerning if you've had a year to work on it and you're still doing it. So,
well, that throw he made to London Humphreys, I think he was the fourth guy in that route tree.
Yeah, but he also again, people complain about the offensive line. He had all freaking day to throw it.
Yes, and he went through his progressions and found London Humphreys in the back of the end zone. That was his fourth read.
After Ernest Green left the field, he had all day to throw it.
Yeah, Amari, who's a great commenter in the chat, says, how many drops were there?
I counted one. Bell had a drop, right?
Yeah. And then I liked getting the ball to Dylan Bell a couple times on those sweeps, you know?
Yeah.
One of them, it was blown up, it wasn't blocked right, but give me that guy. So, no turnovers. Less than 2. Passed 1 by 38. Pretty good day. So, Greg, the doctor, Greg Steele, said the same thing you did, William. Pretty happy with the day so far.
Well, there were times where, as much as they've emphasized how much they were going to focus on the run game, there was a lot of 1 and 2 and 3 yard runs up the middle and around the side against a team like Marshall that they got stuffed a lot. Several, there was a dozen run plays that just got stuffed against Marshall.
Well, again, Marshall's got athletes too, and when they were selling out to stop it, They were getting gashed on it.
I understand that, but it's still Marshall. And
well, I'll put it this way: you give me 5 of your best against 6 average guys, and the 6 average guys will win every time.
That's true.
And that's what they did.
Yeah. Anyhow, fun game.
Yeah, what are those? Jermaine's on the chicken wing. So a lot of people, give me your thoughts on this. Brian Cullett brings up our backup quarterback looked pretty good. William, your thoughts on Ryan Puglisi?
Ryan Puglisi's got a cannon from an arm, like they keep saying, man. He threw some on the button. I was sure hoping Kirby would turn him loose at the end and let him cover the spread, because he laid some balls on people, and then at the end of the game he shut it down. But I thought he looked good. He had a couple of runs that put that on tape. He's not he's not going to be like. I don't think he'd be as good, pulling the ball and running as Gunner is, but he did show that. And but yeah, he's got a cannon for an arm.
Yeah, and he can run.
It was nice to see the backup in the game for meaningful snaps, playing most of the third and all of the fourth quarter. We saw none of that last year with Gunner. He got very, very little time because we seemed to always be in a close game or a game that was not exactly a blowout. And this game was over at halftime. Let's be honest, it was over at halftime. And I was pleased to see Puglisi actually get some meaningful minutes. And you're right, William. He has a cannon for an arm. He really does. But I think Gunner does too. I think Gunner,
I hope
Gunner hit a nice
would have come in
across the middle
earlier.
Branch, and he showed a dart of an arm there too. So,
but I think Branch is the playmaker that we haven't had the past year or so, and it's going to be a great season. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Hey, we're going to bring on Michael Fowler here in just a second, but I need to mention our friend.
I'm going to cut out then, Roddy.
Okay. We'll see you later, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
I'm ready to go too.
Okay. We'll see you later, William. Take off.
Be good.
All right. I'm going to add I'm about to bring on Ben Bachman and Michael Fowler here in a second. First, I need to mention our friend Bart Benton from Benton and Benton. You need to check out Benton and Benton for any issues you may have. This guy is a huge Georgia fan. I texted him before the game, asked if he's excited about it, and trust me, the guy is off the rails. He would be one of the people who was there early, cheered all the way through, knew who, 91, that's Justin Green. And he knows the depth chart up and down. He knows all the additions. This guy he's brilliant, and he's in your corner. Bart has recovered $58 million in 2024 alone. Basically $4.5 million and $3.87 million. When you are screwed over by someone else's negligence or someone else causes you injury, you need to get someone on your side. And if you want a smart litigator, you want a smart lawyer, you want somebody who's going to do the research to show why you were injured, why you were hurt, why you were taken advantage of, you got to call Bart Benton. And I mean, I know it's kind of silly that the tagline is "Be smart, call Bart," but it really is. If you get, and again, remember Paul got screwed up last year. What's the first thing he did? Called Bart Benton. Known him since they were kids, so he trusts him from a long way back. But Bart has been an absolute beast in the industry. So the take cases all over. If you have someone screw you over and you want someone in your corner, reach out to Bart Benton. So be smart, call Bart. Now let's add Michael Fowler into the chat again and Ben Bachman. So we'll start with Michael. Give us your take, Mike.
Roddy, first of all, fantastic to see you. As I've commented at least a dozen times, ad reads smoother than the Bill Clinton apology. You just love to see it. I just wanted to get this this out there because I feel like the comment didn't get enough traction the first time I put it out there. Drew Bobo is David Andrews, the second coming. And he's not going to get his flowers until draft day comes around. But I'm telling you right now, Drew Bobo, the anchor of this offensive line, he may not be a man-child like Juan Gaston, but I'm telling you right now, that man is going to be playing on Sundays, same way David Andrews.
Now, to be fair, Coach Donnan on Tuesday told us that the NFL scouts came to Georgia because they have certain days that they come out and they and you'll tell the players scouts are coming today. So, and Kirby likes to do it not on Bloody Tuesday. He likes to do it on days when, let's say, they may be slagging a little bit. You know, you've been going so hard, and maybe some of your starters are like, man, I'm just kind of beat up. You're like, hey, the Ravens are going to be here. The Seahawks are going to be here. The Colts are going to be here. And all of a sudden, those guys perk right up, and, you know, they start busting ass. And, Mike, I want to say, Mike, that a lot of those scouts, when they leave, they talk to Jim Donnan. I've been with him when head coaches of NFL football teams call him to ask him things. You know, he's close to Andy Reid. He knows all these guys. And they will tell him, hey, I went by the UGA today, and here's who I saw, here's who I like, and they'll get coach's thoughts. Guess who they were talking about? Drew Bobo. Coach actually said he would leave early. I'm like, what the hell? Because that's a long way, Michael, because you remember when they're like, why are we giving Drew Bobo? We're only doing that because his dad played here. He's the starting center, and I remember seeing him climb to the middle linebacker and driving that dude back about 10 yards down the field.
So what I hear you saying right now, Roddy, is that I am just as smart as Coach Donnan, and I really appreciate the both.
That's exactly what I said, Michael Fowler. Yes. You have the same eye. Again, a good reason to watch the show on Tuesday, because when Coach said that, I was like, oh, shit. And again, we saw Drew in camps. You know, I didn't know if he's going to be good or bad. To me, and when I see Drew, I see him as like 9 years old playing against my son. You know, I'm not, and to see him as an adult kind of blows my mind, because I'm like, where's that little kid that I knew way back when? But, and again, I'm not trying to, I don't know what's going on. I'm just saying, Coach talked to NFL guys, and to your point, saying that he could be David Andrews. The NFL scouts seem to like him, and he makes right calls. You notice he's the up back on the punts, who's determining the, you know, how they deal with the blocking on the punts. He knows what he's doing out there. And I hate that Georgia lost Jared Wilson after just 1 year.
Yeah.
And that he was drafted so high. I would love to have seen him multiple years here. Of course, he was behind, you know, Cedric Van Pran. You're not going to sit that guy to play Jared Wilson. But I don't feel that it was at center that Georgia had issues today. I think the fact that after the second drive, you lost the guy who had gotten all the reps with your starting with your number ones and Juan Gaston, and then Ernest Green has an issue later on too. Not a great day for the offensive line when you had to replace your entire right side.
Didn't Micah Morris also have an issue with his like hand or something?
Yeah, and he's clubbed up, so he can't. And you guys know, if you've played football ever, and I can raise my hand, I was on the offensive line, defensive line. We were taught to grab their steering wheel. You know, you grab those shoulder pads right in there, and you clamp down. And I mean, we would tape our fingers so that we could have better grip. I mean, we used to did that. What do you call it? The skaters tape that they put on skateboards. And we would have that on the inside of our hands to get that jersey a little bit better, you know. And basically, you have Micah Morris out there with one hand because the other one's clubbed up, you know. And again, I'm with you. So I appreciate the offensive line love, Michael.
I think it was more the interior, because off the edge, I didn't remember Freeling or Green or whoever came in to tackle get beat.
Bo Hewley was out there a lot.
Bo Hewley, actually, I thought did a decent job. And what's his – oh, man, I always mispronounce his name. Michael Uni. I believe that's how you pronounce the last name. Like, I thought both of them – honestly, the first two drives of the game, the run blocking was not impressive, especially on the interior, because I just remember early on, I'm like, Gunners, they're barely throwing the ball. Or if they were, it was quick RPO screens. It was like they had that one screen to Branch, and then they had another one, which I believe was an RPO where they had a slant over the middle. They really didn't throw the ball a lot the first 2-3 drives, and the O-line was kind of stalling, even though they ended up scoring with some third and shorts and stuff like that. But the offensive line is one of the only concerns I really have, and also the wide receiver. It's not really a concern, but I didn't really get to see enough of them, really, when you think about it, because C.J. Wiley, I don't believe he had a catch. Taylor didn't have a catch today, and I don't even think Noah Thomas did. I know a lot of people were hyping him up out of camp. None of those guys had catches today. It's not like they needed to, but like the receiver room outside of Branch, you didn't get to see a lot of. Part of that was game plan, and a part of it, I kind of wish they had better pass protection. But my last concern is Gunner's ability to get the ball off a little bit quicker. That's a main concern. Like I remember when the draft was rolling around, they were talking about Shadur. My main thing watching him was always this guy held on to the ball for 8 seconds. In the NFL, they're going to beat him up for doing that. Gunner's got to get the ball out quicker. The one thing that helps him is, unlike Carson Beck, he can move. And I think it was Paul earlier brought that up, going, hey, when his first read's out there, he kind of runs a little bit more. Well, he has that ability, unlike Beck, who Beck's not going to run around like Gunner is. So it's actually a good thing to have, even though obviously you want him to be a little bit better going to his second and third reads and his progression. But I think overall he had a solid day. The defense was great. Secondary was great. I thought Raylan Wilson played as good of a game as I've seen him play. I mean, he was all over the field. He rarely messed up. So I thought overall things were great, outside of some of the stuff with the offensive line, which I think could get cleaned up.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on the defense. Aside from Rashawn Dinkins, who I started writing about, I don't think anybody had mentioned him yet. And I'm like, hey, I'm hearing great things about Dinkins. But, of course, a safety and downfield coverage sometimes, especially when you have another guy pushing off, there's some BS there. But, it was 45-0, And to your point on that first drive, they ran the ball 6 times for 45 yards. I don't care. And I know it was Marshall, and people will say, well, you got to be able to have the passing offense. If it's working, if Kirby Smart can run the ball without putting it in the air, because remember, when you throw the ball, 3 things can happen. 2 of them are bad. Kirby Smart plays the percentages. If I can keep it on the ground and run for 5.5 yards every time, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep it on the ground and run and get 5.5 yards. So also, what did they say their number one area of concern was all off season?
The rush.
Run the ball, stop the run. What did we see today? They ran the ball. They stopped the run.
Stop the run.
We can't have everything.
Right.
Because I'm going to prove that we can run it. And then we're all bitching about the fact that they didn't throw it. If they'd thrown it all over the place, we'd be complaining that Georgia still can't run the ball. When they play the good teams, they're not going to be able to run it. You can't have it all. Georgia had 25 first downs. They weren't great on third down. They were fantastic on fourth. But I think, Michael, give me your take on this. I think that Georgia wins handily. The line was 38.5. They win by 38. Kirby he gets a very comfortable win. He gets everybody and their brother into the game. They all get a little taste of being on the field. And now he gets to spend this week and next week going over game tape to show those guys where they screwed up.
So, to Ben's point, Gunner not getting the ball out very quickly on a few plays can be concerning. But I will say Gunner got the ball out very quickly. A couple plays that you didn't see him getting the ball quickly last year in the SEC championship and Texas or the playoff game. So I'm not as concerned about that. I'm not as concerned about the third downs, to be honest with you, because when it becomes fourth and manageable, you now have SEC defenses that have to play honest because Gunner has the ability to run, and he's a threat to run. And you know who really likes a play-action call is Mike, by God, Bobo.
Yeah, that's very true.
Bobo
that is very
will
true.
sit there and lick his chops over the fact that you're going to keep defenses at home trying to keep Gunner shots contained.
No, you were dead on. He loves to do that stuff. And again, there were times that the defenses last year would cheat against Carson, knowing that he wasn't a threat to run it. And there were a couple times where he did run it, and he made huge plays. Remember, he did it in high school, especially his junior year when they won the state championship. Carson was a running machine. I mean, he's damn near a dual threat. The guy was
He had like 12 rushing touchdowns, I think.
yeah, and just an absolute badass because it's effective at the high school level. It's very effective at the collegiate level. Hell, sometimes it works in the NFL. My point is, he wasn't a threat to run very much last year, and there were times where if he had kept it and ran or made the right read, he'd still be going. I think you're showing me that when Haynes King was damn near unstoppable, 2 nights ago. Who was the other guy that ran it? There were 2 games at the same time where a running quarterback changed the outcome of the game. They scored from
was it Boise?
I don't think it was Boise. There's 2 big games.
Boise played South Florida. I know Colorado and Georgia Tech was kind of like that.
Yeah. Again, so hey, they needed help. Haynes King saved them. There was another game.
Rushing yards.
Yeah, there's another game going on at the same time where 2 quarterback runs within 3 minutes of each other changed the outcomes of both those games. When Georgia was really good in 2021 and 2022, when they won titles, you had Stetson Bennett.
Right.
JT Daniels couldn't run, but then Stetson got up there. He won you games with his legs. And today, when the game's over and I saw what Gunnar Stockton did, I'm thrilled. I'm like, I'm not saying I'd rather have a guy who can run than a downfield passing threat. I'm not saying that at all. But at least the fact that when he is doing the read and the backside guy or a spy has to keep an eye on him instead of just crashing in, that makes him play honest, and it makes your running backs have a better day. It makes your receivers have a better day.
But also, Roddy, this might
Jackson Arnold.
Yeah,
I've been saying he saved their ass.
Yeah, and one of the things I've noticed is, and Roddy, I think you would probably agree with this, is there's not really any quarterback that scares you in college football. Really, there isn't. Like in years past, we saw what Joe Burrow was at LSU. Oh God. Well, Arch Manning isn't scaring anybody right now.
No, I didn't say Texas. I said Tennessee, baby.
Oh God. Well, I look right now and I just don't really see any guy that I'm like, yeah, this guy's number 1 pick. He's going to light up the world.
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody who's like that. I think a part of it is with NIL and the portal. Like you look at a lot of these teams, like half of them is like a transfer quarterback, and guys aren't sitting in one system and developing as much anymore. With NIL, I don't know if incentive is as much there because they feel like, hey, I have this money, I made it. But overall, the guys don't scare you as much. So sometimes you have a quarterback who plays it safe, but also adds a dimension with his legs. I'll take that. Like that to me, honestly, might be more of a winning formula now because I don't know if that many quarterbacks are going to develop as passers in the modern era like they used to because guys are transferring all over the place into these new systems and the repertoire with the receivers. They're just not there. I don't see as many receivers that pop the last 2 years either. Like I looked at Texas today. Their guys look slow. And you would think a Sark team, like these guys are slow. They can't move at all. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, honestly, having a running quarterback and having an offense a little more dynamic with play action might be more effective for what's coming in college football now.
No, hey, you're right. I mean, even with the I'm sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
I apologize, Roddy. A couple things there. Ben brings up an interesting point about Texas's wideouts. I will ask about the talent level in Ohio State's secondary. Specifically, they got a kid that went to Alabama that happens to be at Ohio State now that Georgia really wanted. And I know Caleb didn't have.
Come on, man! I thought we were friends, Michael.
I know Caleb didn't have a fantastic game, but I think Ohio State's secondary is probably near the top of what Ohio State is going to face this entire year. Secondly, as it applies to Tennessee, what's the kid's name that's starting at Tennessee now? Aguilar, is that correct?
Yeah.
Coach Heupel has had more Heisman favorites after week 1 as a head coach than any other coach in the history of college football. And you know who has his number? Coach Kirby Smart. I ain't worried about Tennessee. Listen, I'm from Chickamauga, Georgia. I'm right here fighting the good fight on the Georgia-Tennessee line. And I'm telling you right now, these Volunteer fans are walking around with their chest puffed out just a little bit right now. And come that third week, brother, we gonna lay it down.
Now, Michael Fowler is in Chickamauga, Georgia. If you don't know where that is, it is on the line between Georgia and Tennessee, south of Chattanooga. It has one of the most haunted ass places I've ever seen in my life called Snodgrass Hill.
That's right.
I know the Snodgrasses. I know Vanessa Snodgrass and her husband Keith. My wife's best friend lives in Chickamauga. I've driven through there for years covering the Georgia Vanderbilt game or the Georgia Tennessee game, and I would come back late at night, and I've seen stuff driving through that damn town, going past those battlefields. That place is haunted as hell. And my point is, if Michael Fowler can stay in haunted ass Chickamauga and fight the good fight, then I'm going to give him credit for pointing out that yes, Heupel does have a good quarterback, but he was facing a decimated Syracuse team. Let's see what happens when he has to face and the scheme was, don't get me wrong, big fan of Syracuse and big fan of the head coach there, Fran Brown, but their scheme today was not the best to stop that. So let's see him do it 2, 3, 4 times in a row. Let's see him do it against Georgia. Let's see him do it against a healthy Dayne Everett or a KJ Bolden. Let's see. Daniel Harris today looked good. Ellis Robinson looked good. William Carlin, thank you for the $5 super chat.
Elijah Griffin impressed me on some plays.
He ain't in the secondary, dude.
Hey, I know, but I'm looking at the young guys right now.
I know, but my point is, so let's see Aguilar do that against Georgia secondary with the scheme that Michael Fowler points out. Kirby Smart knows how to. We've had a lot of quarterbacks come in against a Kirby Smart team, and they look fantastic coming in. And then Kirby's like, okay, this guy's a great passer. We're going to take away the pass. This guy's a great runner. We're going to take away the run. We're going to give you some exotic looks. And Michael's right. Kirby's had his number a few times. But, again, I thought that Georgia or Tennessee was getting UCLA's mediocre quarterback in some quarterback swap. As bad as Arch Manning looked today, Aguilar looked fantastic. So, again, it's only one game. I won't read anything into it, but Michael's got a good point that Kirby won't have a dumb scheme.
No, and I look at things when it comes to Georgia right now. This is actually someone asked me this question earlier today watching. Who is like the best player on Georgia? And I was making a case. I think it might be KJ Bolton back there at safety. I think he might be the best player on Georgia. And one thing that stands out, I know because I follow him living up here, but I heard people who have covered the Ravens camps for years talk about Malachi Starks. They said he reminds them of Ed Reed. They said they have not seen a DB walk into the Ravens. And the Ravens just paid the highest paid safety in football, Kyle Hamilton, 3 days ago. And they're calling Malachi Starks potentially the next Ed Reed. They go, this guy knows everything about the opposing offense already. That's who Kirby had start as a true freshman. Day one against, I think it was Oregon. Yeah, his freshman year was against Oregon. Now you have KJ Bolden, who's there to replace him. And to me, I don't see, them skip a beat. Like, I think he's the guy on Georgia. I know he's an underclassman, technically being a sophomore, but I think he's the guy at Georgia because when earlier I think people were talking about leaders, I think him in that secondary is going to scare the crap out of some of these other receiving corps because, Georgia's going to be one step ahead.
He is. My fear is that when you're like, okay, KJ's here, Dayne Everett's there, we got Ellis Robinson or a Daniel Harris over here. Then they go after Georgia's star or other safety. When you had Kyron Jones, Adrian Maddox, Ja'Cory Thomas, you don't have a second safety. And what we saw teams do last year, they're like, okay, who's the weak link? Whenever they saw a linebacker in coverage or a safety not named KJ Bolden in coverage, or Malachi Starks, or a star, they were able to pick on something. So my only fear is when they find that weak link, and I'm not saying Ja'Cory Thomas or Kyron Jones or any of those guys are, but I hope those guys grow up fast because you need to be 5 deep because Georgia's usually in a 5 in a nickel package most of the time. And I can point to 3 who are really good, 4, but that leaves 2, sometimes 1, who's very, very questionable. And it doesn't take a lot. I mean, you have to be perfect in this league or they're going to pick on you to death.
It's like, wasn't it the SEC title game they lost to Bama the year they won the title the first time? It was like you had Ringo, you had somebody opposite. I think it was Kendrick was opposite him. You had the 2 safeties. And then the star was, I think it was either Amir Speed or Brenny. And I remember checking the box score. Whoever that was got over 200 yards. And I remember sitting there and I was like, they found the vocal point and they have the receivers to exploit it. That's the thing. Because I remember years, Roddy, you were talking about this. I think it was last year, or the year before, when Daylen Everett was first starting. I remember they played Auburn on the road, which that place, you guys are talking about cursed places. That's the most cursed place in the world is Auburn. And you look, and I remember they had Tyke Smith, and they had Lassiter, and they had Starks. Everything was good, and then Daylen Everett was the weak point, and that's the guy they went after the whole.
And they
game.
picked on him nonstop. Remember,
they didn't throw at anybody else.
People were begging for Daylen Everett to be thrown into a volcano.
Right.
You know, they were like, he is terrible, and I'm like, it happens when it's your first year. You know,
Right.
and that's who you pick on. So again, I'm not trying to be overly negative. I'm just saying if there's a weak link out there, that's where they're going to go. Last year, remember, at the end of the year, and I never call out players. Michael, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll notice I don't crap on players. But towards the end of last year, I'm like, they're picking on Dan Harris. They're going after Dan Harris. They were just pillaging Dan Harris. He looked much better today. So I was a lot more excited about it.
He did. And a couple things about that safety position. One, we saw the development of Dan Jackson at the University of Georgia. And I'm not real sure how many schools Dan Jackson would have been starting at safety for, but I'm going to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff for taking a very ball smart guy with a above level athletic ability to go in there and make a lot of plays. And number two, one of the things that KJ Bolden deserves a lot of credit for today is turning a lot of those runs to the inside, into the teeth of that nasty ass defensive line, and making sure that guys like Kristen Miller and all those big nasties in the middle of that Georgia defensive line could eat guys up.
He drove through a wide receiver who was bigger than him and turned the running back inside to Chris Cole. And Chris Cole fucking laid that dude out. Chris Cole, big day. Just a side note, but you're right.
Yeah, this just in. Chris Cole, really good at football.
See, Roddy, see the best coverage linebacker because he can actually cover. And it's rare you see linebackers that can cover like very early on in their career. He's one of those guys, and he's a long athlete. Like he to me has a big ceiling at Georgia.
He does. He has really long arms, but I don't know. I don't remember how many times I saw him in coverage, so I don't want to weigh in on that. I do want to weigh in though on what you said about who's the best player on defense. Maybe it's KJ Bolden, and yeah, in year two, damn, he's lights out. But my preseason best defensive player was Raylan Wilson. I know a lot of people like C.J. Allen, but nothing I saw today made me think that I need to walk that back. Raylan Wilson was a damn beast today. And again, it's Marshall, but this is the Overreaction show. And I'm thinking that Raylan Wilson, 2 tackles for loss, led the team in tackles. And again, if he's leading the team in tackles and C.J. Wilson is or C.J. Allen's right behind him, and then maybe a safety, that tells me that the defensive line is doing what it's supposed to do, and they're taking on, your 3 technique is picking up 2 guys, and it's leaving no one's climbing to C.J. Allen or Raylan Wilson. Those guys have that side-to-side speed and can attack the center and attack the quarterback. So you're talking about who might be the best linebacker. I'm thinking who might be the best impact linebacker. We all talk about C.J. Allen, but Raylan Wilson might be that's my pick.
And also, it's like the number 3 spot now between Cole and Justin Williams is going to be interesting. I think that's going to be interesting because they're both good. So it's not just about the top 2.
Yeah, I feel bad for Chris Jones because remember we talked about him making the switch from inside to outside, but now you're starting. I say starting to see it's just one game, but remember when Damon Wilson transferred? Damon Wilson was supposed to be the big new edge guy for Georgia. Chaz Chambliss is gone. David Wilson's going to roll in there. Damon Wilson's going to roll in. And when he transferred to Missouri, we're like, why? You're going to get paid a lot at Georgia. You're the next star in waiting. And it got back to us that someone in his camp thinks the next big star to play that Jalen Walker, hybrid role was not going to be Damon Wilson. It wasn't going to be Chris Jones. was going to be Chris Cole. And I'm like, wait, he's a year behind you. What are you worried about?
I think CJ is probably your unquestioned leader of the defense. CJ is your play caller out there.
Yep.
And you've got two guys in Chris and Raylan that are going to fight it out all year long for the absolute freak of this defense.
Very fair. And look, if you get those guys doing that and you get Daniel Harris with, again, I feel bad that I called him out because I don't ever do that, but it was just so damn obvious, he's so long and so fast. If he has the same maturation that Daylen Everett did, and you could have Daylen Everett, DeMello Jones, Ellis Robinson, who's a freak as well. You got 4 cornerbacks. One of those guys might drop back and be your safety. Instead of going 2 safeties, 2 corners, we're going to go 3 corners and 1 safety. All of a sudden, you're right. Maybe I should not be worried about Aguilar. Maybe I should be worried about anybody throwing the ball. And the defense was lights out. I know we're going to overanalyze the offense, but what helps Kirby Smart win games? Smothering defense and a run game. What do we see today? Smothering defense and a run game.
Right.
I'm happy.
And also, why would you? Because when you talk about the run game thing, I was going to bring this up earlier. If you can run the ball, why do you need to throw the ball? Also, when you run it, you have a less chance of turning it over. I mean, quarterbacks are more prone to turn over the ball than running backs. Like, if you have the ability to just manhandle people. Like, what's the point of throwing at that point? Especially with some of these college quarterbacks now. I don't trust, any of them. So,
no, I'm with you.
That's my thing. Like, I would rather, especially in modern college football, with the way NIL is and how teams are now closer in terms of talent level between, 1 through 10, if you can outrun the team, out-physical the team, I kind of value that more than the passing games. Because even you look at USC and some of these teams are like, oh, my God, the passing game. They're not there anymore. Like, I don't see a USC team that can throw the ball all over the yard. I know Clemson's playing out. I think they have 10 points at half. Like, they're not throwing the ball all over the yard. It's not as prevalent. Obviously, it'd be a nice bonus, but I want to just manhandle people. I know that's Kirby Smart's identity, and I think that's what they need the most, to be able to run the ball on people.
And it makes it easier on your quarterback. And also makes it easier when he can run too. But if you want to, this is what Gunner's second start. You've got a good run game. Nate Frazier looked fantastic. Peanut looked great. Quincy, Chauncey Bowens looked good. I'm like, okay, well, you're averaging 5.5 yards a carry. They spent all summer, all spring working on being able to run the ball and stop the run. They did that. So check those boxes. I'm with it. And, Kirby likes to play the percentages, running the ball. If he can run it the whole time, what is the other? Where's Aguilar? He's on the sideline.
Right.
When if you wind up seeing LSU in the SEC championship, or you're facing Texas in the SEC championship, or you're facing, Ty Simpson in Athens, or whoever you're facing, great quarterback. If his ass is on the sideline, he can't score. So if you can get 4, 5, 8-minute drives with your run defense, Kirby will never throw the ball again. If he can run it the whole time, he will bore you to tears running the ball 750 times and never putting it in the air. Because, again, I know it's a coaching cliche, but if you put the ball in the air, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad.
Well, it's a cliche, but also, what is a first-year starting quarterback's best friend?
Run game, baby.
A deep running back room and the best damn tight end room in the nation. You've got a safety net built in right there like no other team in the country has. Yeah. Gentlemen, I have to get on. I have to get off of here. I'm going to leave you with this. All of these conversations today that I've seen during the Watch Along show and the Postgame Overreaction show remind me of 2 years, and that's 2017 and 2021. We've got a first-year starting quarterback. This defense has got some no-name guys, but they are absolutely filthy. We've got a deep wide receiver core, a deep running back room, a deep tight end room. This team could be special. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
I agree with you 100%, Michael. We appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. And we have Keith, who says, no, why is no one talking about UGA having no penalties or turnovers with all the green players? we've mentioned that a couple times, the fact that they only had 2 penalties and they didn't turn the ball over. But, Ben, I didn't think about the fact that he makes a good point. This wasn't a senior or junior laden team. These are a bunch of guys out there for the first time ever and only 2 penalties.
Yeah, which is a great sign. And also, when he brought the tight ends, it brought up a point to me. I think those government debriefings on like aliens and stuff, Elias Williams, I think like his name has to be on that list or something. I seeing him out there, Jesus. What
First catch was a TD, baby.
When I saw that catch, I go, what is that? And I remember, I'm like, oh yeah, he's like 6'7", 6'8", number 1 tight end. And I'm sitting there like, what is that guy? Like he looked like Darnell Washington,
and he barely played
himself.
Yeah,
and he didn't play much. And I remember they were talking on the broadcast like Jaden Riddell, 13 tight end. I'm like, he's still third team, and he's a solid player. So I'm like, what Todd Hartley's done, like he's to me the unsung hero of Georgia, because when he's done with that tight end room, and he's recruited some other players on there he doesn't get credit for. I mean, Georgia got to hold on to Todd Hartley, because every year it's like, a new tight end that you're just like, what is this?
Well, now I will say that I was not impressed last year with Georgia with the way they graded out the tight ends blocking. Yeah. I didn't feel like they really put guys into the dirt. They missed too many. The best graded blocker was Ben Urasek, and he went off to the NFL. But today I saw Oscar Delp laying his body on the line, saw Lawson Lucky doing some stuff, Jaden Riddell getting out there, Colton Heinrich. First damn series, Ethan Barber was out there, and his first thing was to crush a guy onto the inside and set the edge at the point of attack. I was very impressed with Ethan. And like I said, I think about halfway through the game, Coach mentioned that we hadn't seen Elias Williams out there. And then sure enough, maybe 4 minutes later, he catches a touchdown. His first catch is for a TD. So many guys actually got into the game. They got snaps. They were rewarded for just, 4 weeks of absolute hell practices. They got to be on the field. Very excited for what they did. And you're right. I mean, it's going to be tough. We didn't see it. We saw some good 12 personnel, but they can run 12. They can run 13. Hell, they could run 14 if they wanted to. Really want to screw with people. But we didn't see a ton from Noah Thomas. We didn't see a ton from Colby Young because they just didn't throw it too much. But if you've got those tight ends blocking, and then I'm going to give Colby Young credit because there was one play where he locked on, I think it was a quarterback run, a scramble. He locked on to the cornerback and stayed on that dude for 15 minutes. And Gunner scrambled, eventually ran behind him and had a nice run. Colby Young is going to be a star. So if you talk about what a young quarterbacks or new quarterbacks' best friends are, a good run game and a talented tight end group who can not only catch passes but block like that. Yeah, Gunner's got to be sleeping well tonight.
Yeah, the most underrated player I think on Georgia, because I remember we had H. Hollander, Heath Holland, who is usually on our boards, who would post a lot. And I remember him telling me out of high school, it's like Dwight Phillips is going to be a wide receiver for Georgia. I go, they're still going to use him a lot at running back, which is what he's doing. He's fast. And I mean, that is a weapon out of the backfield where he impressed me as much as any of the running backs today. Because every time he touched the ball, you're like, here's 15 yards. Because if he has one crease, it's over. I mean, I remember his first touch, was it like a 19, 20-yard touchdown? It was like, oh, he saw the crease. It's gone. It's a touchdown. So, to me, he's someone who, if he could be a threat in the pass game out of the backfield on some of those screens, you just get one block on the outside. He's a weapon that I don't think people are talking about enough. He's someone that I think could be really used because he was, I don't remember what his track times were, but I remember out of high school, he was like a crazy track athlete.
10-2. If I remember correctly, I think he ran something in the 10-2s, 10-3s. So that's pretty impressive. We have a question here. Greg Toon, thank you for the super chat. Again, though we don't take those and go out and get drunk. We actually take all that stuff and put it into gear. Because I buy a lot of audio gear and a lot of cameras and stuff like that. So every time we get any sort of super chat, it goes right into the business. I'd love to use it for a steak dinner, but we don't. We put it back into the business. So, Greg, we really appreciate it. He says, are you guys concerned about the tip passes the line of scrimmage? Is it a height issue with Gunner, or is it something that can be fixed with technique? Always enjoy the show. Go Dogs. I am not concerned about it. Greg.
No.
And I'll put it to you this way. Gunner's taller than Stetson was. And remember when Stetson first started, he had a lot of passes batted down. Last year, Carson Beck had a lot of them batted down. It is, technique, angle, and also your offensive line has to stop those guys from jumping. There's ways to do that too. That is something that gets cleared up. You'll notice it happens right, especially with teams when they can't get a pass rush, when they can't get to the quarterback. If they have a good coach, they're taught, look, if you can't get to him when he throws, you jump. And basically it's like trying to throw through a picket fence. And you've just got on the offensive line, you got to make sure that they don't do that anymore. They might jump a few times, but after a couple times, they'll stop. And remember, Stetson had that issue, and people gave him shit about his height, and they said he'll never be able to. He had so many tip passes. Then he changed it, and the offensive line helped him out, and they stopped it. So, great question. There were a lot of tip passes, and that really can drive you crazy. But it wasn't only him, because remember, Ryan Puglisi had one tipped as well. So
right.
That's just the other team coaching their guys up to jump at the right time. That's just good coaching.
I also think it's the quarterback height's a little bit overrated. I don't think people talk enough about the O-line height, because who actually had a lot of batted passes against was Jamari Sawyer. For as good as Jamari Sawyer was, I remember it'd be like once like every other game it felt like at Georgia, and then I remember seeing him. I think he played for the Chargers one Sunday night football game, and he had like 2 batted passes on a drive. That it was like the guy he was blocking, because he's a shorter offensive lineman. So I think sometimes the offensive lineman height is just as important. That's why you want some of these 6'5" guys, because you can prevent the vision of the D lineman to even get in there in the first place. So I think that's an underrated thing. People don't talk about it much. But like you said, Gunner's taller than Stetson. And Stetson, honestly, by the time his last year at Georgia, there wasn't that many bad passes.
There weren't any, or not say any, but there were very, very few.
Yeah.
But you're right. Some of it is also you learn to avoid that. You learn there's techniques involved with it. I won't get into it, but that's a good point. Chris Garcia points out that Anthony Dasher posted on the dog vent that Juan's dad noted that he's going to be just fine. So let me put this on the board. Per Juan Gaston's father, Juan is fine. I'm going to say, I hope that good question, Donut Dog. I hope that's legit. I do hope that is Juan's real dad instead of somebody making up a fake account. But to that point, I did post at halftime what we were hearing. And what we were hearing was that Juan was going to be okay, that he wasn't going to play the rest of the game. And again, I tried to make it as impart as much as possible. That was the initial reaction. Now, a lot of times, if it's the initial reaction is, hey, this is bad, we tell you. We're not trying to sugarcoat anything, but usually they can tell pretty quickly that, ooh, this is bad. And especially if it's a high ankle sprain, they're like, yep. Usually they'll see that it's a high ankle sprain and they're just hoping that it's not. And so we're going to do an MRI or we're going to do our x-rays, and you're hoping against hope because it absolutely looks that way. And then other times they're like, no, it doesn't look like that. So, it could be, but it doesn't look like it. So that's a situation where we posted at halftime that Juan Gaston wasn't coming in. And if that is truly his dad saying that he's fine, then our report from halftime is pretty accurate.
He also walked off under his own power, walked pretty well.
He did. Yeah.
So I don't think it's too concerning. Like I wouldn't figure he'd be out for longer than a month tops with the way he looked. Now that's just me speculating. It's not me confirming anything. So I don't want people to take my words like that. But when you walk off like that, and he didn't have anybody like around his arms, and I remember people were patting him on the back, that's usually a pretty good sign early on.
Yeah. And lots of times, I spent years on the sideline instead of doing the show with Coach John. And I would, when I see a guy come out like that, you can walk over and get pretty damn close and you can kind of hear, or you can watch what the trainers do. And when you see Connor Norman, who's taken over, if you see him buzzing around a guy for 10, 20 minutes, you're like, oh shit, this is bad. And so I asked people on the sideline, I'm like, are they really working on Juan? They're like, no, they've kind of left him alone. Like, okay. Now, sometimes you're like, hey, we're not going to do anything until we get the MRI. So just go sit over there. Or we have somebody else we need to look at. But I I didn't hear that he was being fussed over to really come up with it. I do need to mention our friends over at the Rogue Shop. Now, the Rogue Shop's been sponsoring us for years, and I do want to mention they came out with some really good candy microdoses. Okay, so you can get M&Ms or Skittles type things, and they have little microdoses in them. So if you want Delta 8 or Delta 9 in small doses, they have those in a Skittle or M&M style candy. You should definitely try those. If you want their bigger gummies, the ones that have a little bit more THC in them, you can get the Slap Your Mama grape gummies. They have tons of other ones. The Richard Spencer, the guy that came up with this, and his lovely wife who came up with all these products, he is a former football player. He's also a former member of the military. He got hurt, and he was always will never do any drugs, never do any Delta 8, Delta 9, THC, any of that stuff. But he was in chronic pain. And what he learned was he needed some anti-inflammatories, but a lot of the anti-inflammatories were addictive, and they didn't do a whole lot for you. So he started hearing about cannabinoids and looked into those and found out that they act as an inflammatory. So he started looking into it, and he couldn't find anybody that made anything good. So he started making them himself, and they win awards all the time for being one of the best dispensaries. He approached it from, I need to get rid of my pain issues. What he also found out was it helps with folks who have insomnia. My best friend Cheryl has she has feral insomnia. It is the worst insomnia you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it's been bugging her for years. And now that I have her on the Rogue Shop gummies, she's sleeping for the first time in decades. So if you have chronic pain, or you have insomnia, or you just like the way these things make you feel, check out the Rogue Shop. Use promo code Bulldogs10 to get 10% off your order.
Those things help me sleep. I remember, I think it was like a year ago, I was struggling. I got like a 12-pack of them.
Yeah.
Very productive.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So, and they also have a deal going on right now for Labor Day. Every holiday they come out. And again, it's Richard and his wife. They make all this stuff. It's not this giant corporation. It's the two of them.
Right.
And they started. He's a Texas fan, so he's in hell right now. He's probably miserable, crying into a beer or something. But he loves Georgia. Every time I call him, he can name all these guys on Georgia's squad. He's a huge Georgia football fan. I mean, a huge college football fan. He knows Georgia's backwards and forwards because he knows the competition, and he's a good sport about it. But he started advertising on the Texas board, and then he came to ours, and he advertises on a ton of college football boards. And I've yet to have anybody say a bad thing about the Rogue Shop. So check them out.
And also, they don't have like the effects like in the morning. Usually, if you take like a melatonin or something like that, usually you're like, dazed when you get up. You don't really have that here. It doesn't have that type of effect, which is rare. So it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, my aunt went through that. She was doing the melatonin, and I got her onto the microdoses, and she is so much happier. So I took some to her, and she's like, "These are fantastic. When can I get more?" I'm like, "Well, you're out of the country. It's going to be a little harder for me to get these to you." So, but the point being, the melatonin she did not like. So
yeah, because you usually woke up and you were still tired.
Is that what it is? She couldn't tell me why she hated it, but she did not like the melatonin.
Yeah, it would put you to sleep, but then you wake up after 6-7 hours and you'd be like, still feeling it.
Yeah, Jermaine King, and he's been through hell and back. He's proved that the Rogue Shop makes good products. I know he's actually tried them as well. So shout out to the Rogue Shop. All right. Oh man, we've been going a long time. It's almost 2 hours and 40 minutes. All right. I'm going to kind of wrap up with let's do a couple of helmet stickers. I'll let you go first.
Well, I'm going to take first on offense. I'm going to take Dwight Phillips. I'm going to go a little bit against the grain because that guy literally every time he touched the ball, they cannot catch him. I mean, and I think of the running backs, a lot of them look good, but I think Dwight Phillips honestly impressed me the most with his speed on defense. I'm going to go. I'm going to have to steal him from me. Raylan Wilson was like the best player on the field today. I mean, I think he had a sack. He had a couple tackles for loss. He was all over the field. It just felt like he was always in the right place. So I have to go him. And then if I'm just going to throw a third out there, I'm just going to go Zachariah Branch because he made all the explosive plays in the receiving game. So those are my 3 helmet stickers right there.
Yeah, Zachariah Branch, 3 catches for 95. That's wrong, man. That's wrong. That is 8, and of those 95 yards, 89 of those yards came after the catch.
And he tied his touchdown total from last year in one game.
Really? Okay, there you go.
He only had 1 last year at USC, which is why I've been saying USC is not the same thing.
Yeah. No, you're right. Dwight Phillips, you're talking about him having a great day. The dude had 5 attempts, but wound up getting 60 yards. And I'm no genius, but isn't that 12 yards a carry?
Yeah.
That's a damn good day. I'm gonna go with Gunnar Stockton simply because he showed me a lot of stuff with his feet. You know, he's 14 of 24 for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns. Then he ran for 2 touchdowns. So he had 73 yards rushing. So that's 263 yards total. Average 7 yards a carry. 2 touchdowns 2 touchdowns through the air is nothing shabby. But now, granted, one of those was to Zachariah Branch, who ran it for 47 yards. But still, hey, he threw it to him, and he gets the credit for it. So give me that one. And then on defense, give me Chris Cole.
Don't blame you.
Thought he was everywhere. And of course, I mentioned Raylan Wilson. Being that guy, I love him. And I want to go on special teams. Give me Drew Miller.
Yeah, he did have a good day punting.
Yeah, I mean, I know punting's not sexy, but the guy had to get out there and he had to punt. Your starter's out. He came in, and I know he wanted that first pooch punt. He wanted to kind of lock it in there, but the guy's got a leg, and Peyton Woodring was lights out. So give me those leaders, give me those helmet stickers, and
isn't Drew Miller from Iowa? I mean, that's a big getting a punter out of Iowa, knowing what that state and what Iowa needs with punting all the time.
Yeah. Amari Carmichael adds Bobo. Fair.
He was probably the most impressive O-lineman.
Yeah, he was pretty good out there.
Actually, I think Michael said earlier the NFL, he sees David Andrews, and the NFL scouts are going to see a draft pick. I don't even think David Andrews was drafted.
No, he was an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, he was undrafted. The NFL didn't see him. I mean, Belichick just gave him a shot.
Yeah,
and he wowed people. I think that's a Drew Bobo. He's probably going to get drafted, I think, without how he plays. But I think he's going to be one of those guys who honestly is just going to earn his way up. And he's going to be one of the people who comes in there. And they're going to be like, this guy's the first guy in, last guy to leave. Because really his recruitment was he would just follow wherever his dad was. I think that's what hurt him in his recruitment. He would just commit to wherever his dad was on staff. So I think that's probably what hurt, his standing with rankings and stuff like that, because he always felt set,
Yeah, I mean, he came to camp and looked good, but he didn't have to do that many. He was getting recruited. But this is a guy that, think about it. On the drive home today, you can go with your offensive coordinator and you're the starting center, and y'all can talk formations all day long. He grew up watching his dad, who's a well-respected offensive coordinator, talk about theory and protections and stuff like that. It's just the guy knows his stuff. What made Stetson Bennett special? Football IQ.
Right.
People get bored when they say, oh, he has a high football IQ. To them, it almost sounds like it is a cliche. But there's a reason they love Caleb Downs at Ohio State. It's because he understands what everybody's job is on the field and what everything is going to happen. The high Kamari Lassiter was good at it. Malachi Starks, right. Jalen Walker, they understood. They knew what was coming, and you can have dumb players out there who make mistakes. So
Jalen Walker his dad was a high school coach, and he was a 4.0 out of a high school. I remember, Roddy, when I remember calling you, and I was like, Jalen Walker, I interviewed him like 2 weeks after he committed. I'm like, this is the best interview ever. Like he was I'm just like, yeah, this guy's a slam dunk. I mean, thank God for everybody with the Falcons got him. But,
dude, I went to his. I was one of the only 2 people who went to his actual commitment ceremony. I did the interview there in the hallway, and I remember posting on the board. And Hacksaw legendary poster on the board, came on and said, "That's the best prospect interview I've ever seen."
Yeah.
And it was hell. I mean, to this day, we didn't know each other, and we had so much time, such a good time, just yapping. I loved it. Hey, before I let you go, let's bring on Randy Powers from a damn.
Hey,
good
buddy. How are you?
I'm good. Did you have a good day?
Oh yeah, you can see a little sun. You see that
sunburned.
Oh,
it's called sunscreen, dumbass.
I know. I took care of the top part, but that sun was fierce, man. We'll be better. I'll be better by Monday. It'll be fine. Man, I know y'all trying to get off the air. I know y'all trying to get out of here, but I finally got everything.
Hey, Amari Carmichael's still in the comment section, so we're good.
I love when Radi would do that to Paul. It would just be every time, hey, the show's about to end. Here's another 15 minutes.
No, hey, if we got somebody on that wants to talk, then by all means. So, Randy, you were at the game today on behalf of UGAsports.com. Give us your thoughts.
I'll tell you what, it's hard. Like I was telling everybody as I was coming home, like making phone calls, they were checking in and see how I was doing with the sun and all. And I'm like, yeah, I survived. But it is hard at ground level to fully get the grasp of what's going on, and I hadn't been on the sideline in a lot of years. But the thing that stood out to me is, I think I heard some other people talking about it, is Elias Williams, just how big he is when you see him up close. And, the pass that he caught for a touchdown was literally right in front of me. So to see him and then see how fluid he was after the ball, that really sort of got my attention. Bo Walker, I had heard all kinds of stuff, short in stature, maybe my height, but the kid runs hard, so if he earns his opportunities, that'll be fun to watch. But it was good to see Gunner get out there and work through the offense. He seemed totally in control, which is something that you would expect from a guy who's been in the program for 4 years.
He did look in control. I agree 100%.
Right.
Yeah. And I heard you mention we didn't really get to see the ball down the field. And that's because they didn't really have to, like you pointed out. So I kind of wish we had seen it down the field a little bit more, but you lose a little bit of it from ground level. So they seemed efficient to me, like using the tight ends. They seemed to move Gunner around a little bit, recreate his launch point, that sort of stuff, give him the option to pull it if he needed to. They seemed efficient. I don't know what the statistics are, but they seemed like they did what they needed to do, to keep drives moving most of the time. So overall, I thought they looked really good. I really did appreciate the defensive line, though. They really looked like they were playing hard and working on those edges, setting those edges, forcing it back inside. You couldn't miss number 5. Raylan Wilson was everywhere.
Yeah.
That's
gave him a helmet sticker. So
yeah, there were a few guys that legit just flashed like that, but they really, really did a good job from ground level of holding tight at that edge and forcing the ball back inside. Those new edge players, Gabe Harris, who's really first getting his opportunity, he looked like he did a good job at that. Q looked like he did a good job at that. So again, if those guys are doing what they're supposed to do in that run game and those backers can run free, that defense is gonna eat this year.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the defense was lights out. They gave up one score to the third string. Third string gave up one. So they faced a bunch of different styles of quarterbacks. A lot of people are making a big deal of the fact they didn't have any sacks, but I'm like, they had 6 tackles for loss, and it's not like they were doing show passes where they're taking 5-step, 7-step drops where you can actually get to a guy like that. You can blow up a tackle. They were attacking downfield. There weren't a lot of sack up. If there were sack opportunities and they couldn't get to the quarterback, I would be more concerned.
Well, it's like you pointed out, they had 3 different guys they were trying to corral. And remember, there was no tape on them coming into it. So they sort of had to figure it out as they went. And I'm going to sound a lot like a coach here and say that they had pressures. They forced those guys to move. And that leads to bad passes, incomplete passes, and things like that. So I would say hold your water in terms of, being able to get after the passer, because you guys been talking about Chris Cole a lot. Raylan Wilson's going to be another guy.
they are going to utilize those backers in the pass rush game, as they always do as we get deeper into the year. And if you have a quarterback that's more of a statue and you know he's going to be there, or not even a statue, if you know where he's going to be, they're going to be able to go get him. I mean, I walked away from today feeling that, because if the defensive line is doing what they're supposed to do, holding up against the run, you get them into those longer down distances, and you know, generally speaking, where that guy's going to be, then you just turn your athletes loose. So as we move through the season, I think that's what you're going to see. So I know this is the overreaction show, but kind of.
Do you know the title of the damn show?
I know. I can't. I'm ruthlessly rational. I can't help it. But I know. But I will say, just hold your water. I think we're going to see some stuff as we move into the schedule.
Roddy, can you imagine if you had an overreaction show and you were a Bama site right now? Oh my God,
dude! So when the game was over, somebody said, "I can't wait to see the reaction from the Alabama fans." And I started to call out the Alabama fans who troll me nonstop. So, like, every time I mentioned something, there were like 5 or 6 Bama fans that tweeted to me, "It's just Marshall. It's just Marshall."
Right.
I'm like, put down your sister's hairbrush. I understand that it's just Marshall. I'm covering the game. I've been doing this a long time, but I'm asking for your opinion with the idea that you are facing Marshall. And boy, by the third quarter, my feed was clean. I could tweet anything, and it wasn't a whole lot of Bama fans coming after me. And again, it's neither here nor there. I don't really care one way or the other, but they got very quiet. And so after the game was over, one of the first things I tweeted out was, "Hey, everybody, why don't you join UGAsports.com? It's $1 for the first week, and you get access to read all of the message boards." One of the biggest message boards in college football sports is Bama Online. It's one of the original 6 rival sites. You can't post over there, but if you're a member of UGA Sports, you can go read it. Go read Inside Texas with Arch Manning, Wonderkund, with his 1 touch or his 1 score today. So you're right. The Vent is always going to be the Vent. It's the greatest message board of all times. They will overreact, underreact, freak out a little bit. But after a loss, to me, maybe the best value of your UGA Sports subscription is being able to read the freakouts from the other pages. And when Dayne was on early, because he started the show right after we got off the air, he actually was just scrolling. He put on screen, here's what the Bama site looks like. Here's what the Texas site looks like. And it is meltdown central. It's glorious.
So I have message board warriors. I think we have a lot of vent people who are on message board warriors a lot.
Yeah, you definitely got to check it out. So a damn good day to be a dog.
Absolutely. And I have Bama people that I call friends, and they were reaching out to me, via text in the early third quarter, and going into this game, of course they thought they were going to win. They thought they were going to walk it over. I asked them what would be a disappointing outcome, and the answer I got back was a 10-point win. And then I'm getting those texts in the third quarter. So,
oh my goodness,
I'm sure it is ugly over there.
Yeah, you definitely have to check it out.
I mean, Bama 0-1. You got Texas 0-1. You got Georgia and Kent State are 1-0. For now, Kent State's got to win. And Texas don't so far.
Josh Stewart's actually in Tuscaloosa, the poor bugger. He says it's quiet in Tuscaloosa. I bet it is, baby.
You know how many?
Think about this. If you're a Bama fan too, Auburn won.
Yeah.
Even though Roddy, I will say this. I saw a lot of the schedule predictions before the year. A lot of people, Georgia's most lost game, and I know a lot of people like Texas. A lot of people were picking Georgia to beat Texas. Auburn's the one game a lot of people were picking to lose, and I'm like, that is Roddy 100% is like hack these people, because Roddy's always scared about Auburn. Them on the road is the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah, it is.
They could be the worst team. They could be 0-9, and they'll have like a fullback out there get like 30-yard touchdowns in that place because it's Auburn. And that play at home, Auburn does not scare me at all.
Ain't worried about them
on
here.
the road. That place is just, I don't understand it.
Now there was a freak series there where Georgia was winning down there every year, and they were winning here every year. It's about 6 or 7 years in a row. It's just a mind-boggling bubble in the universe. But you're right, things are weird down there. But again, and I tweeted it out and got a bunch of blowback on my tweet about Jackson Arnold, because when he went to the transfer portal, Georgia went in and spoke to him very much. They're like, hey, we really like you. We'd love for you to come here. Now, they weren't promising him, hey, we don't have a quarterback. You can come be the guy. But they weren't exactly thrilled with their QB depth either. So they would love to have gotten him, but they weren't going to put up a ton of money and stuff like that. They would say, look, we've got a quarterback coming off a bad knee. We got a kid who's only started one game. If you want to come in and compete, we'll take you, but we're not going to promise you a job like other schools did.
Right.
And I had a long conversation with the folks in Oklahoma, and they explained to me exactly how he got screwed over out there. And I'm like, well, what's it like? And they told me how good he was. They're like, this kid is phenomenal. And then he wound up going to Auburn, of course, because that way he's going to play Georgia. And so what Jackson Arnold did not shock me at all. And I've been telling people I'm worried about this game because they have a legit quarterback. So Georgia does too. Georgia absolutely does. And I love Georgia's defense.
Flag away from Florida. Honestly, Florida and Auburn might be the two games that scare me the most. Because Alabama at home, I know it's shocking because it's Bama. They do not look impressive. Kalen DeBoer, this is a crazy stat. 4 of his first, so he's coached 14 games. 4 games, they've been double-digit favorites going in, and he's lost in his first 14 games as the head coach at Alabama. I don't think he's going to be there after this year, but the following year, if this keeps up, there's no way. He's a West Coast guy going to Alabama after Nick Saban. That's not going to work.
Yeah, but he's got his offensive coordinator now.
Could not work at Alabama. You have to have the right fit.
Yeah, I heard at some point Ryan Williams got kind of dinged up.
I think he's concussed. They're checking him for a concussion. It didn't look that good.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hate that for him because he's a hell of an athlete.
Oh, he is.
I mean, being in the stadium today, of course, I haven't seen the games. I've got a lot of homework to do, but the reports that I got, heavy rain down there, so that is what it is. But Simpson didn't look good based on what I heard. And the defense that everybody wanted to tell me was at worst a top 5 defense in the country, potentially a top 3 defense, didn't seem to show up today. So I think if the Alabama people are missing on Simpson, saying he looked timid and scared, and then also that defense isn't what you thought it was, then this season is not going to be what Alabama hoped.
Florida State's quarterback ran all over Bama's defense, and with Gunner running the way he does, that's a great sign for Georgia, because Florida State's quarterback just ran all over him. And his quote before the game, he literally said, Florida State's quarterback, they don't have Nick Saban to save them anymore. I'm confident we're going to win this game. He said that before the game, and he went out there and just smacked them.
Yeah, I will say this, when people kind of make fun of me for being so excited about the fact that Gunner runs it, there are a lot of finesse teams that have a great quarterback and great skill guys. And they will, in the playoffs, they will run into a team that beats them on the lines of scrimmage and has a great run game that puts that great offense on the sideline. And when it comes to championship times, it's who wins in the trenches. Georgia lost in the trenches to Notre Dame. They lost the game. So, again, I would much rather have a gritty, tough, running quarterback than a guy who can throw a beautiful 7 route.
Right.
Give me a guaranteed 4 yards versus a possible 30-yard pickup.
Right.
I'll take the guarantee and the time of possession and the lack of turnovers. So, like you said, if Georgia can run on these guys, that's great,
Right.
Too many times Georgia's faced a elite, passing offense, and Kirby Smart has just shut that shit down. He's like, we're gonna go smash mouth, and my boys can smash you, and you are finesse, and look at when he faced Ole Miss 2 times before that. So what did Ole Miss do? They went and stocked the lines of scrimmage because they came in with their high-flying offense, and Kirby's like, we're going to shut that shit down. So I'm just saying, what I saw from Gunner Stockton today, those gritty runs, I like it.
I know you guys did helmet stickers a little while ago, just before I came on. I don't know, you may have mentioned it off the top before I was able to dial you in, but I do want to point out that this is the first victory for Georgia since the passing of Kirby Smart's dad. And there was a special moment after the game today between Kirby's wife and his mother, you know, because this was her first game without her partner, right? So just a happy, good moment today happened at the end of the game there. And I think that, you know, all three of those people should get a helmet sticker, right? It's just a good thing. It's a good way to just sort of onward with it, you know, and I was happy to see all that happen.
Yeah, that is great. And see, that's what happens when you go to the games. You see stuff like that you just would not normally see. So
yeah,
shout out to the Smart family. And there was a question earlier in one of these press conferences, you know, about him losing his dad. And I don't know if it's a bad question or not. I don't even remember what it was, but it sucks when you lose your father. Our Patrick Garvin just lost his mom. And as tough as that is, I'm happy that they had that moment, and it's a big gap because you'd see his mom and his dad come down to the field, you know,
right?
Yeah.
So that, you know, he's not there this time, so for them to have that moment and to appreciate the man that's missing, you know, again, I'm glad you were there to see that, and thank you very much for sharing it.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what it is. It's, you know, yes, it's football and wins and losses and stuff like that, but they're humans playing this game, and it's cool to see good things. You know what I mean? You hear about all the bad stuff. It's good to see the good stuff.
I like it. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. As we just hit the 3-hour mark, and I'm going to screw around this bottle of Hunker behind me.
Right.
Folks, appreciate everybody tuning into the show. There are a ton of stories on the front page of UGAsports.com right now. Let me hit them real quick here. We have the complete coverage story where Dash does everything that we've had. And we have post-game news and notes. We have 3 reasons why Georgia defeated Marshall. We have win, loss, and bad beat. Georgia blows out Marshall. We have Georgia defense approaches the old standard and a strong performance. We have Kirby Smart's post-game comments. We have what Marshall head coach Tony Gibson said about Georgia after the game. Always great to see what the opposing coach had to say. And then, of course, we have an entire story about Gunnar Stockton and what everyone said about him. So point being, check out the front page of UGAsports.com. You'll be glad you did so, and jump on the dog vent. Again, we had the news on Juan Gaston, that he was going to start last Sunday, and what we've heard about his injury. We posted it during halftime, so you won't find more breaking news and more analysis and stuff than you will at UGAsports.com on the dog vent, the greatest community of all time. We had almost 2 million views on that message board in the month of the last 30 days from yesterday.
Wow,
2 million views. People reading it, commenting on it. There has never been a community like it, so you have to check it out at UGAsports.com. For Randy Powers and Ben Bachman, I'm Radi Nabulsi. We will see you folks later. Y'all take